himself a crossover.
Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover. It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
All right, time for the crossover. It's brought to you by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha, everlevelconcrete.com. Half the show is out at Werner Park for the, wow, listen to the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's baseball, Gary. Baseball.
No
Ever heard
birds
of it?
chirping this time.
No Oregon.
No. We could get some, maybe we can get some recorded Oregon. It'd be hard to get. How do they get Oregon up the stairs? You know, for the to the press box, they got to have a crane probably. for
That's
that.
true, and it's tight in that in the game ops room, as you know, it's very tight in there. You couldn't put an organ in there.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think it would work here.
Are the Silver Sluggers doing the mall walk around the concourse?
It's almost bingo time. I believe.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Are you calling it?
No, I'm not calling bingo today. It's too many jobs.
Josh?
Josh, are you calling bingo today?
If called upon, I'm ready.
Okay, good.
I'd be ready. I'd love to call bingo. That'd actually be awesome. It sounds electric.
That'd be one way to describe it, I guess.
How would you call bingo?
I would do it like Saul Goodman did when he was trying to take advantage of old people at the old people's home. What a callback! Better call Saul. People forget about that show. Sad. We really do. Kind of went away. That's disappointing.
Breaking Bad has stayed.
Yeah,
it's making a comeback
not
too.
So much.
Yeah. No, but this is it's our final day out at Werner Park for the year. It's the Storm Chasers' last homestand until the playoffs in 2 weeks. So get your tickets, get all ready for that.
That's right.
Get this place all loaded up. But yeah, final homestand. We're gonna say goodbye to baseball soon.
What is it? The schedule for the playoffs, is that going to fall on a weekend?
No,
it'll be a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Okay.
Thursday if necessary.
Okay, well, you're not competing with football.
3-game series here at Werner Park.
Necessary.
And wow, Josh is fired up about the Storm Chasers.
Nice.
And then if they win, they get to go to Vegas, just like the Creighton in the Mega NIL tournament. I don't know if they get NIL money as well, but no,
they would take it if given.
Probably.
I think talking to the Royals guys, they do get something. It's not
okay.
They were told it was $1 million. They have taken a couple of zeros off that million.
I imagine so. We do it. It's baseball. We do it for the love of the game. None of this other crap in there. That's why we do it.
Nice baseball reference movie. Better performance. Speaking of baseball movies, with the late now James Earl Jones, Sandlot or Field of Dreams?
Better performance from James Earl Jones.
Yeah. He didn't have as many speaking parts, but Mr. Myrtle.
It was impactful.
I like the Sandlot more.
I like the Sandlot character more.
But his performance in Field of Dreams is probably better.
Just had more lines.
Yeah.
When I think of James Earl Jones, I think of Mufasa.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've heard that earlier today, too.
You don't think of CNN.
Mufasa is my guy. I was ripped apart, ripped to shreds when Mufasa was shamefully killed by his brother.
He was the voice of CNN, or still is the voice of CNN.
Yeah,
that's right. As a frequent watcher of the Superstation, I am familiar.
Josh, you need to go sign up for senior bingo.
I like that Josh keeps it in the Turner family. He is loyal to his Braves. He's got TBS, TNT, CNN, Cartoon Network.
You are Team Atlanta, my man.
That's right.
Josh and I are gearing up for a big series at the end of the year, though. It might be serious business.
Yeah,
it's going to be a lot on the line.
Lots on the line there. I also threw in the King Jaffe Jofer in Coming to America, which was also very good.
That would be in my top 5. Yeah. I would wonder what's in Josh's top 5.
Maybe we'll find out this afternoon.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it has to be.
Sounds like a tease.
I mean, it has to be Darth Vader, right?
Does it?
That's a tease.
Find out later. Charles writes in on YouTube, poll question, is Mufasa your guy?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mufasa is definitely Connor's guy.
Mufasa was my guy.
Yeah.
Seriously.
You have a twinkle in your eye.
It's shameful. And you know, Scar got what was coming to him.
Absolutely.
But I don't think he was ever publicly tried. It's just they got him. You know, they took care of him.
That was street justice.
Hey, do you?
Yeah. The hyenas took care of him, right?
Yes. But look. I mean, yeah. Do you imagine that, like, if you had a younger person and you explained to them all these movies James Earl Jones was in, they would argue with you? They're like, "Oh no, he's only a voice."
Yeah, like that can't be the same guy.
Maybe. I mean, but like it's pretty recognizable.
The voice is.
Yeah. So you see the guy and you hear him talk in a movie and you're like, oh, that's all of those other things. So
baritone.
Yeah. When's the last time he did? Has he been doing anything for the last several years? I mean, he was 93.
Coming to America was his last feature film.
He did do that.
Okay.
Which wasn't good.
That is correct.
You watched it?
I did. Because I love Coming to America. It's just like we were talking about Happy Gilmore too, because Adam Sandler was on the Manning cast and it was weird. That Happy Gilmore 2 I'll watch just because I like the first one, but I'm setting myself up that it'll be bad.
Expectations cannot be lower.
Yeah.
It's almost for sure going to be horrible.
Yeah. And that way, if it's okay, I'll be happy.
Mm-hmm. That's all I need.
Yep.
I'm excited to see what they do for another one of our fallen Chubbs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Got to bring that in.
Adam Sandler has subtly said that there will be something you will recognize.
Good.
There would have to be. That movie is nothing without Chubbs. Chubbs Peterson.
Agreed. So I was telling Gary this. There were a few tweets that were going on during the game Saturday night where there were comparisons to Coach Prime and Chubbs because of the white beard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're like I know people are making mention of like Lovie Smith's white beard, but they're like, it's kind of like Chubbs.
I was trying to figure that
They're
out.
also both missing digits.
Yeah, so
It's
one
true.
is missing a hand, the other is missing toes.
Yeah, there's that too, and that might have also been the reference there too. But they're calling out more the white beard. I wonder if people who were sending me these realized that there was this. Oh, I hope not. No, they said the white beard.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe there's some other stuff too.
Yeah, I don't know.
But Chubbs was a great teacher. Is Coach Prime a great teacher?
Ooh,
that's true. And I don't know if he'd offer to teach football for free like he did golf for free to Happy.
He was. He went with people's strengths. That's something. That's a mark of a great coach.
Does Shadur Sanders listen to Endless Love in the Dark?
I'm going to go out on a limb right now and say no.
He listens to Perfect Timing in the Dark.
My love.
And so do all the people in Boulder, Colorado after touchdowns, right?
Yeah. But
they
apparently,
they really wanted to not talk about that yesterday.
They all have walk-up songs. So apparently they said they play the kickers. The kicker has his own song that if he makes a field goal, they'll play like a snippet of it. Then they'll play the fight song.
Yeah. But like
Glory, Colorado.
So what was reported, not completely untrue. It's a little odd that they put the players' songs in there before the fight song when they score a touchdown, but part of the deal.
It's very 2024.
I love this. This was so predictable from a mile away. Nebraska wins the game. They win it ugly, like they win it, big. And Colorado is like wondering all these things about themselves.
They're inward looking.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're like, is this working? And the answer may shock you.
Shannon Sharp had a lot of takes.
Oh, him and Ocho.
Yeah.
They were going off.
Frauds.
I saw a great teardown by a local Denver radio host who was like, I'm out.
Yeah, who said he was out after a year and a half. Yeah.
Yeah, he gave all these reasons and was like, for that reason, I'm out. And Philip Lindsay, who's his co-host, was just sitting there, just like listening to it the whole time. I thought that was
well. Can you imagine if they lose Saturday at Colorado State?
Oh.
And they could. I
can't imagine.
7.5 point favorite.
National television again.
Mm-hmm.
CBS Sports.
Be a bit of an embarrassment.
Primetime on CBS.
Primetime on CBS. Nebraska got primetime on the Big Ten Network.
Same thing.
It's going to be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have a big pregame show leading into that.
Oh, sure. Probably canned halftime.
A definitely live halftime show.
Yep.
No, that's the question. Because I looked at the schedule for that Friday night. I'm going to say they will have a canned halftime show.
Probably.
With some taped segments from wherever the pregame show on Saturday is from.
Yep.
You're thinking about for the Illinois game?
Yeah, for the Illinois game.
That's what they did last time Nebraska played on Friday night, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
or
Yep.
Thursday
Yeah,
night.
that Illinois game. Yeah,
And I thought there was something wrong with my TV because they were not breaking down the first half.
because
And
they
it
didn't know
was
how to
sunny
win.
outside.
See, they should have. They should have just. That's true.
That's the first sign.
They
You
should have
can't
just.
fool us.
They should just pre-taped a bunch of different scenarios on how it would have played out. They're like, all right, this one is the most similar, so let's just roll that. It'll look like we were being. We'll be
Or,
very vague with it.
Hear me out. They could go and do the show.
Oh,
Why would you want to do
and
that?
the
Lazy
staff
people.
to do that. Come
Just
on.
play clips of Joel Klatt's podcast.
I don't know where they were. I don't know where they were at the
Oh.
time during that game last year. It must have been on the West Coast or something like that. I imagine they were just out on the town on the Friday night. They got to enjoy wherever they were.
Josh, you're not off. When they did the New Mexico Montana State game, they actually had part of a Klatt sit down with Ryan Day during the summer that they replayed at halftime.
It's what you do during rain delays of a broadcast. Like, all right, well, what did we do this week? All right, just play that during the rain.
That's what
delay.
they did for Minnesota, North Carolina.
Yeah, you just play old stuff.
I was like, wait, why is Matt Rule on?
Yes. What can we re-rack?
This was
Re-rack
all
that.
recorded at Big Ten Media
Yep.
Days a month ago.
Why is it sunny when it's raining?
Wait a minute, is Klatt at Firethorn talking to Matt Rule?
I feel like I've seen this before.
Shouldn't
He's
Matt
back
Rule be
again.
getting ready for the game?
Yeah.
They're just sitting down there at halftime.
All right, well, enjoy your day of fun at the ballpark, and I hope a lot of Silver Sluggers stop by.
Will you be making your way out, Gary
Yes, I am the official scorer today.
Sharp? All right,
right.
so we know who to yell at on potential scoring mishaps.
I'm hoping for a nice, clean day.
How many times have you got yelled at this year by people who have problems?
Jersh called me one time on a play.
Okay.
Can't assume the out, Gary.
No, it was a long fly ball to center field that Drew Waters did not catch, but Jersh, who was an old-time baseball guy, was like, he's got to make that play. And I go, I can't assume that.
Yeah.
He's like, he's got to make that play. That's an error. And I was like, oh, okay.
See, that's where coaching mindset and official score mindset collide, because you cannot assume that. But a coach is going to say that should be.
But this time of the year, they are more likely to nitpick a official scores call on an error because it impacts batting average and earned runs. Earned run average.
Yeah.
As a pitcher, I would definitely, who has a pitcher brain, I would definitely agree with Jersh seemingly on that one, or most of them, because I think everything that isn't fielded should be an error.
Yeah.
Just make a play.
Yep.
How do you, that ball was off your glove? I don't care. It's an error.
Yeah.
I'd be giving everybody
You're
error.
diving and you made contact.
I can't wait to welcome you to the official scoring fraternity next year.
No, well, I don't need another job. But,
Well, let's see if you could do that though. Official score, and you could be the on-field MC
No.
and do a show.
No.
I don't know.
No.
I'd like to give a lot of credit to those official scores. What they do is hard.
Yeah.
I did the pitch clock and OSC one night.
Nice.
That was not easy.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, that's difficult.
Yeah. But you're going to do multiple jobs today, and we look forward to seeing that, or however this is going to be pulled off again.
Yeah, don't worry. We got a microphone this time. It's working, so we're cooking now.
And let's hope the game is over before the show is over.
Yeah, we had that
Yeah.
one time and one time only.
Yep.
It was done right basically at 2:00. So yeah, we love to root for 2-hour games. It's the new thing that we do in baseball now.
That's
I'm not
amazing.
sure everybody around here would love 2-hour games,
That is amazing.
but we definitely root for it when we do this show. All right, guys, cool.
Thanks.
See you.
Gary Sharp will be out here in just a little bit. That is the crossover powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. Connor and Josh with you at Werner Park, our final day baseball game out here at the yard. It's got a little fall feel to it, a little bit of crispness in the air, but don't worry, it'll still be 90 degrees today. We will come back, set up the show. A lot of things planned for you today. The first edition of NFL Reaction, Overreaction. Josh has potentially multiple top fives
I'm cooking, baby.
that we can get to. We'll let him cook on James Earl Jones and more. Bunch of Husker questions, the Big Ten report card, all coming at you here on the Connor Happer Show. Coming up next on 1620 The Zone.
He has the latest sports news, expert analysis, award-winning commentary, and a pocket full of cabbage.
Can you give us an indication why?
Just in case there's a sauerkraut emergency.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome in. Happy Tuesday. It's the Connor Happer Show. You're on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer and Josh Odson with you live from Werner Park. Day baseball between the Omaha Storm Chasers and the Toledo Mud Hens coming up at noon. So we'll see if the baseball game can outlast us today. We're getting a pretty good head start here, about an hour and a half before game time.
It happened once.
It has happened before.
Will it happen again?
There is precedent. Mm-hmm. Welcome to the show. You know, Josh, yesterday, speaking of, I don't know if you're with us on radio, you heard that little lead back in. People have been asking why are those things saying those things about me? And I don't have an answer for them. Pocket full of cabbage.
Pocket full of cabbage, just in case there's a sauerkraut emergency.
Something about
ticklish underpants.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what. I didn't know what to tell these people. I was asked, and I was like, I don't know why they say the things they say.
You went away for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I thought it would be a good time to freshen up some of the ins and outs of the show.
Yeah.
And that's what was given to me.
So your request was like, hey, can you just make something for us?
Some intros. They said, here's what we got. And I said, sure, those are really weird, but I guess they're funny.
Okay, there's your answer, people who were curious about this. All right.
Well, I wish it was more involved. Like I went in the lab and I really wrote something down. Nope, just took what they gave me.
Okay. Well, good on you. Maybe we give them more direction next time.
I think definitely.
So, by the way, yesterday, we debuted the worst segment ever on this show.
We did.
And so I just have a follow-up on it quickly. Jake Moody, the San Francisco 49ers kicker, was able to get me 26 fantasy points last night.
10 more than you needed.
En route to not only a win, but the highest score in my league for the week in totality, which earned me a weekly payout.
Hello.
Via our league structure. People are accusing me of colluding now because I'm the commissioner of this league, and I have to tell them that the league payouts were determined long ago, and I had no idea that Jake Moody would be my second highest scoring player on the week.
Would you get on the horn after the show yesterday and call up the Niners organ? Listen, you need to bench Christian McCaffrey. I need field goals tonight.
They were. We'll talk about the situation with the 49ers. Spoiler alert, I'm not particularly bothered by this.
Okay.
Are you?
I think it's weird.
Okay. All right.
I'm not like up in arms about it, but that's weird, right? You just tune on the pregame show and, hey, the best player in the game isn't going to play.
Look, he was on the injury report, right?
Was he?
Yes, he was questionable on the injury report.
Okay.
Questionable
for you.
So, I mean,
that makes it less weird.
You can't really depend on him playing. The question is, like, the timing. When did they know, and when did they tell
Sounds
people?
like they knew Friday night.
But they didn't tell people until about 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon for a 7 o'clock game on the Pacific time zone. So, yeah.
I'm going to ask Allan about it.
Okay.
Is there a gambling aspect to that?
Yeah, Josh will likely be – there's definitely a gambling aspect to it, and there is 100% a fantasy aspect to it, which all of the – that's what people are mostly pissed about.
Yeah.
Gambling and fantasy.
Definitely.
And I think if you're a football coach, you're like, what? Why do I care?
I don't care about these things.
Gambling and fantasy. I didn't want to hold our strategy that we were going to run running back stretch 1 million times with Jordan Mason and beat the living hell out of the Jets last night. No, I did. I wanted to hide that for as long as I possibly could. So Josh said it. He'll speak with Allan Bell largely. I will be pulling my double duty today, so that'll likely take me away at about 11:30. Don't worry, I'll be back as we roll on throughout the show today. So AB will join at 11:30. Jacob Bigelow in at 1 o'clock. That's the lineup, powered by the Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. Want to hear from you guys? 402-951-1620 on the 42 Degrees The Source hotline. You can call or text that number. Tweet at Happer Show, at Connor Happer on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed, and email Connor and Josh O on the Equitable Bank inbox, where they take banking personally. Hello to our YouTube streaming audience this morning, where Star Wars Fiend writes in, I hate your kicker, Connor. You cursed me with a loss thanks to that crap. Bad take, Connor. Well, on the good side of the on the Jake Moody, there is, of course, always a bad side. Whoever's going against Jake Moody.
Sure.
I do love when that actually happens to your team, though, in fantasy, where all the people afterwards are, the guy scores 6 touchdowns or whatever, and he's got 50 fantasy points. And, there's always like 2 or 3 of those a year. And last night, maybe arguably one of our better kicker games that we'll see this year. And there's always the broadcaster after the game who's like, congrats to whoever had him in fantasy. And I always go, then last night I finally went, that was me.
That's me. Thanks, Joe.
Yeah. We talked about it in the worst segment ever.
We did.
Yesterday. And Star Wars Fiend was on the wrong end of that.
And that just gives us fuel to continue doing the worst segment.
That's
ever,
right.
Because it's been validated first time out of the gate.
It is strong as ever. We will never quit the worst segment ever, which is Mondays at 12:45. Speaking of 12:45, the top 5 is back. Josh will bring you his top 5 James Earl Jones parts.
Yes.
We lost James Earl Jones yesterday, a magnificent monster of a man with a huge career, and responsible for many of the voices and parts that we have come to love in some really emotionally stirring movies.
Can't wait to chap the hides of everyone listening.
I can't wait until you say Mufasa is the number 1 part.
It came down to that.
All right.
There was a choice to be made at 1-2.
Okay.
Choice to be made at 5 and 6 as well.
This is one of the rare ones because we've done this before when we lose actors or actresses, and then Josh wants to, pay tribute to them with the top 5. And I don't know. I can't name 5 of their things that they've been in. In this case, I can.
You can. I believe you've seen 4 of the 5 movies in this top 5.
I could do a top 5 today, but I won't. We'll leave that to the professionals like Josh. Elsewhere on the show today, we might have Josh's bottom 5 NFL teams as well to pair along with NFL reaction. Overreaction in the noon hour. We'll talk some TV ratings as they are in for Colorado and Nebraska on Big Ten Saturday night. Matt Rule yesterday on special teams and how bad they are, and can it be fixed? Can Nebraska have a great team this year? Don't ask Dylan Raiola. Ask the other guys. There was an opportunity to mix in a quote from the movie, our favorite movie, The Other Guys, but I couldn't find one. He shot Jeter.
He shot the Yankee
He
Clipper.
sees the Yankee Clipper. We'll get into that Jordan Mason situation in San Francisco last night. I have a big picture question for you as far as where we stand right now. One of my favorite games to play in radio, a long-standing tradition. Sign in the dotted line or roll the dice. Now that we're 2 weeks into the season, we're going to ask you a critical question. Would you sign in the dotted line for, I'll tell you what it is later, or would you roll the dice and have the stakes been raised around Nebraska football? The Big Ten report card will make its return this week, and we will I actually put a teacher-like spin on some of these things.
Oh, wow.
Some of our brown nosers, some of our overachievers. You're fine.
Okay.
You did fine. You're a good kid. Better pick it up. Hanging with the wrong crowd.
Just doesn't apply himself.
Yeah. And did I give out any Fs?
Ooh.
Because they always say a good teacher doesn't give out Fs. They rehabilitate them. Will I give out any Fs?
Okay.
Is there somebody who's so far gone that I have to just fail them in week 2 of the season?
Pretty early.
Also, tonight we have Creighton, Nebraska volleyball, a top 10 matchup in college volleyball in Lincoln. Is Creighton ready to finally do it? Is Creighton ready to beat Nebraska?
This is the one. They've circled this for a long time.
And they are old, and they are experienced, and they are #so hot right now. Nebraska wondering about itself a little bit.
The home team, though.
Yes.
That's
that
worth
helps.
something.
That helps. They're wondering about, so they, I don't know if D. Wayne does their MC work down there, but they get the MC instead of me being the MC for Creighton volleyball. So I don't know what kind of advantage that's going to
An MC battle?
play for Nebraska tonight. Yeah, maybe. Maybe they get me down there and we just duke it out on the floor or something like that. All right, so that's set up for the show. Once again, want to hear from you guys today. So let's just do that Jordan Mason thing right now. Was that the story of the night from last night, or is this just a cover up for the Jets actually sucking again and us not having to talk about it that much because we're talking about this whole deal?
I think the bigger takeaway is the Jets.
Yeah.
The supposed Super Bowl contenders. I know it's tough to – Aaron Rodgers hasn't played in a year. It's tough to go East Coast to West Coast and all that, but it just didn't look right.
It didn't. It did not. But we ignore that, at least for now, as the Jets did indeed lose last night handily to the San Francisco 49ers, the Christian McCaffrey list, San Francisco 49ers. And that's the story. San Francisco running back Jordan Mason revealed last night that he found out he'd be starting in place of Christian McCaffrey on Friday night. Now, I will say this for context. After the game, he seemed unsure. And you know how it works in football. And really, if you're just enjoying football, by the end of the weekend, you don't know what day it is, right? Monday Night Football, do we play? Like if you're used to playing on Sunday afternoon, and all of a sudden you're playing on Monday night, it's possible that you didn't actually know what day that happened. I will give him that. And maybe that is the exit strategy in this scenario. But obviously this has triggered many people online about fantasy football and about gambling because Christian McCaffrey was largely the first overall pick in many people's fantasy drafts.
Sure.
And he was likely the betting I don't know why it would have been the betting contingent for these people, but maybe he was. His status, it obviously would have moved the line a point in one direction or the other had he played, had he not played. So there's implications on this, and the NFL as a league is largely tied to its fantasy market and its gambling market. It is one of the things that it is embraced, and it is said over the years, this is something that we're going to do and we're going to take seriously. And because of that, we have to tell the truth on injury reports. Did San Francisco tell the truth, or did they lie?
Tell the truth.
Christian McCaffrey was on the injury report as questionable, and then he ended up not playing in the game, which, usually you get downgraded to doubtful the day before or something like that. In this case, it was not to be. And may he be out for a couple weeks, and that could even further, increase people's case against the San Francisco 49ers. I'll say this. As a person who, if we're talking about the fantasy aspect of this in particular, if you're a good fantasy owner, you have a contingency always.
You got a stable.
If there is a chance that Christian McCaffrey is not going to play in the game, then you have to go out and get the guy who sits behind him, or the guy or some other guy who's. But now it's not the best situation. Obviously, you'd rather have Christian McCaffrey. Sure. But if you ended up playing him last night, but you only got warning 3 hours before the game, and you ended up putting him in your lineup, and he got his fat zero for you, and you lost your fantasy matchup because of what happened on Monday Night Football. I don't know what to tell you. You had warning. You had a couple hours to kind of figure this out.
Well, wouldn't you have to set your lineup on before the Thursday game?
No, I mean you could always take out a guy who's not going to play.
Okay.
You could.
I don't play.
The players don't lock until the game.
They play
starts.
their game.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, like I said, you're going to be limited in terms of options and what you could do to replace him, which is the problem here. But I don't know. This doesn't bother me that much. Will it bother the NFL? I saw I laughed out loud to this one last night from cousin Sal. He of Bill Simmons podcast fame. Did you see this one?
I did not.
So it was in connection with the Jordan, he tweeted the Jordan Mason video, and he said, "Wow, bad look for the league if true. Goodell's going to have Mason's larynx removed."
I get all my Bill Simmons podcast news from the PM crossover.
Yeah, that's a good place
where I get all my updates.
I don't know. Like, I just I understand it's big money, and it probably sets a bad precedent if they did know. But questionable is questionable, right?
Right.
And the NFL wants you to be as truthful as you possibly can on the injury report, and it's possible that they weren't that truthful, which is really the gray area here.
And from a gambling standpoint, it ultimately didn't matter, right? Like, if the line moves down a point, okay, the Niners
they covered
cleared
everything.
it even more, right?
Yeah.
It's not like it was a competitive game in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Kind of a stinker.
So you're where are you at on this?
I am.
You're lukewarm. You don't actually care about this at all.
I would like some answers, understanding full well I'm probably not going to get them, and we'll be fine with it.
Chris writes in on YouTube.
Hello, Chris.
Nebraska fans should have already known Moody well after that 2021 Nebraska-Michigan game. Was that him?
Whoa.
Was he the kicker in that game? Did he go to Michigan?
I don't keep the only kicker I remember is the rather chunky fellow from Wisconsin.
Oh, Rafael Gaglianone.
Yeah.
You remember him?
Gags.
Dude, that guy was awesome.
Yeah.
He was a fatty. Let's see. Box score.
Yes, he was. I just checked.
Jake Moody was 4 for 4 against Nebraska in 2021, including the game-winning field goal. There you go. Wasn't he 4 for 4 last night, or was he 5 for 5 last night with a couple of extra points on top of that? 2 for 2 on extra points.
I can't count that high.
Yeah, I can't either. There you go. We should have known Jake Moody already. The kickers, it's hard to tell if they've been in the league for 100 years or if they just arrived and have been in my life playing college football. I don't think this is a huge deal. That's basically where I'm going to leave this story. It's kind of the lead story in sports today because it involves like directly the fans and people who care about the sport. But I don't know. I don't think NFL teams need to be really thinking about fantasy and gambling when they make their decisions, whether they're hiding something or not. But like I said, the NFL wants them to be truthful. So we'll see what happens on this. I also think, like I said at the very beginning, I also think it's possible here that they could just be like, oh, he spoke wrong. He didn't know what day it was. Because it clearly seemed like from the video or from when he did his interview last night on TV, he was like, yeah, I guess Friday. I think Friday. He seemed very unsure about it.
Sure. I just want to know why Christian McCaffrey didn't do what Russell Wilson did. Russell Wilson was ruled out, but still suited up in pads and everything.
Yeah, great point. I didn't know he was actually allowed to do that.
What
now, he couldn't have gone into that's a very try-hard move by Russ.
Yes, absolutely.
Very on brand.
One of the most Russell Wilson things ever, being ruled out, but still suiting up.
Star Wars Fiend writes in, are you sure Tyreek Hill is not the top story in sports today? Maybe it is. That video is bad.
Here's the thing.
That video is bad.
It's not the top story in sports, and it probably should be.
Yeah. Not good stuff.
Not good. Not good.
Not good stuff.
Here's how not good it is. You've managed to make Tyreek Hill a sympathetic figure.
Yeah. I like how we also always talk about the municipalities in Miami-Dade County. I feel like we're talking about that all the time.
It comes up quite a bit. It's almost as if it's a horribly corrupt place and should be excommunicated.
Oh, the election's happening. Let's focus in on Miami-Dade County.
Yep,
every couple years on that one.
Yep.
Now we're and people. This story pops up and it's like, yeah, the Miami-Dade County officials are like, oh yeah, I know about that. That's about to pop up again. Star Wars Fiend also asked, which will Connor get to first, Caitlin Clark or Tyreek Hill? Poll question. Well, I just talked about Tyreek Hill, so
there's your answer.
It's over. Happer's Beam Guy writes, poll question, was he a fat fatty?
I'll do it.
No context on that one. I like it. All right. We're back after this. I would like to also talk about some of the Colorado reaction. Basically, we're going to drink some Colorado tears. Sounds fun, doesn't it?
I like it. Yes.
That's as good of a tease as I could do for you guys. It's the Connor Happer Show live at Werner Park. Day baseball between the Omaha Storm Chasers and the Toledo Mudheads coming up at noon. I'm Connor. He's Josh. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. Connor Happer, Josh Adson with you here on the Connor Happer Show. 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, live from Werner Park, as we'll have baseball in just a little over an hour. Doors will open at 11 o'clock. There's some senior bingo going on today. It is the final home day game of the year for the Omaha Storm Chasers.
Wild to think about.
And wild to think about that before they, sort of reformatted minor league baseball a couple years ago, we'd be done. Baseball would be over in Omaha.
Oh, that's right.
By now. But we still have at least 2 more weeks left with this final homestand and then the 2 or 3 game playoff series, which will come up here at Werner Park in just a couple weeks. So this is the segment where we drink the tears of our rivals. I love this segment.
It always goes down smooth.
Thank you to Mr. Bigelow, who will be joining us later on in the show, for just sending this to me. Before we get to the Colorado tears, we have Iowa tears.
Iowa tears.
That's right. Are you ready to drink these Iowa tears?
That's a good flavor.
So Iowa and Iowa State fans are going after each other. Iowa State has won. And Iowa is trying to assert its dominance by saying, well, we win every other time. And then you know how this usually goes. Well, you're a garbage program. You haven't done anything. Iowa's done this. Iowa's done this. So there was an Iowa fan who asked to his followers in response to an Iowa State fan sort of barbing at him, when was the last time Iowa versus Iowa State has assisted in Iowa's strength of schedule? He writes, it never has.
What a weird nitpick, but
now,
okay.
Here's where the tears come in. The community notes have gotten involved. And here's what the context is giving us on X.com. Iowa State has been Iowa's highest ranked or second highest ranked win in 5 of the last 7 seasons.
Oh, so frequently.
According to ESPN's FPI ratings. The only seasons they were not was in 2022 when they lost to Iowa State, and 2020 when they did not play. Shout out to the community notes.
What a great feature, Elon. Thank you.
I like what he's done with it. Can we be honest? I like what he's done with it. It's basically just calling out, that's what it's built for, right? Calling out people who are just spreading false things.
Yes, whether
Twitter.
You know it or not. Last 2 times that game's been played at your place, you have walked away the loser.
Pretty funny. Oh, Josh, by the way,
hilarious.
When I look this way, we need to switch. Let's do this. That way, when I'm looking this way,
Okay.
Let's be smart about this.
Sure.
All right. If you're watching with us on the YouTube, you understood what just happened. If you're not, then you probably were very confused. So that's the Iowa tears. Enjoy them. Soak them in. Iowa, Nebraska's main rival has lost to one of their main rivals. Josh is enjoying the tears right now. And Nebraska just got done winning a game that they haven't won since 2010 against Colorado over the weekend in convincing fashion. And this has led to quite the introspective look, I guess, for Colorado fans or Colorado media at their own program. They are now very concerned about Colorado football. I would argue that they should have been concerned probably a long time ago, but they are definitely more concerned now after they were exposed during a rivalry game, because they know, just as everybody else does from watching the game, that Nebraska could have won that game by as many as 30 or 40 points.
Yes.
Matt Rule said it 3 times yesterday at his press conference. I counted 3 times. So when you go to just Google and you type in Colorado football, and then you go to news, you will see just a never-ending list of opinions and articles about what Colorado is not doing. I watched I mentioned this in the crossover. It was like a 3.5-minute just tear down of Colorado football and Coach Prime. Yesterday, it was from 104.3 The Fan in Denver. And it was one guy who was like, I've kind of been out. But then he was like, it finally crystallized for me. I am out. And then he gave like 100 different reasons. And one of them being, of course, this whole sideshow that they're into now, which is the band and the Shador song and all of this stuff. It's amazing how I just want to give ourselves a pat on the back. It's amazing how accurately we predicted all of this. The only thing that I overshot was, and maybe I didn't even overshoot this. The only thing that I overshot was the conversation being more about Dylan Raiola than it was about Shador Sanders. Mm-hmm. It's been more about Nebraska's defense in their like journey to be back, you know? And I think that's the thing that's kind of carrying them right now as far as the national conversation is concerned. But on Colorado, predictably, the takes are abound, and people are very much enjoying themselves, taking either a victory lap or, my favorite, the incredibly invested can't tell me nothing fan is now looking at themselves and saying, uh-oh, what's the problem here?
So it's not a direct comparison, but we in Nebraska can help our rivals in Colorado because we were once convinced that a Husker was a savior. And we know
it wasn't that long ago, Josh.
I know. We know the signs to look for when a Huckster tells you that everything's going to be okay and gaslights you for years. So
now, to be fair to Nebraska fans, this one was more obvious.
Yes.
I've seen
lower degree of difficulty.
I have seen the term grifter being used so much over the last 2 days. It's been amazing to take in.
I believe in this offseason, Deion Sanders will be selling monorails to various towns across the country. He's got some of that in him, if you know, you know.
They're like, wait. So you're telling me this is not just a thing that he did to improve the standing of his sons, and he's going to leave at the That's the other thing that people have come to realize. Like, Josh, once again, 100% correct.
Oh, please tell
me more. He's not going to be here after this year.
Absolutely
he's not going to be at Colorado after this year.
There's no reason for him to be.
Why? Exactly. Why would he be there? His kids are going to leave. He's done his job, and he's out of there. The only reason why he would stay at this point is to zag on the people who's telling him that he's not going to stay. That's the only reason. It would just be purely out of spite.
There's a shot of that happening. Like, don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah. He's a spiteful guy.
Yeah. You think I'm going to do that? Well, you don't know.
He keeps receipts.
Yes.
He keeps receipts. Charles writes in. He says, watching Buffs fans get self-aware is amazing. Oh, it's been so much fun. It's been so much fun.
They've had to ask themselves some tough questions, and I can't believe these tough questions didn't come after the Oregon game last year. I guess you could chalk that up to like when Nebraska played Ohio State or Michigan and just got rolled, and you're like, yeah, they're a better team than us. So yeah, we got rolled.
I got to go to
the next one.
I got to go to this SCO Buffs Twitter account that is just like the hype monster for Deion Sanders and crew.
Yeah, what are they saying?
It's hard to search them on Twitter because their name is full of emojis and things of that nature. But if I go back in my tweets, because I grabbed one from last week, the we coming, the at SCO Buffs Twitter account.
Okay, seems confusing.
So there's a picture of Shiloh Sanders in the hospital after getting his arm surgerized.
R.I.P.
He's alive still.
Are we sure?
There's a picture of Coach Prime, giving some love to Dylon, our son Dylon.
Yes.
After the game, there's a tweet about how well Travis Hunter did in the game. He had 10 catches for 110 yards, 3 tackles, a tackle for loss, and a pass deflection.
Okay. Good day at the office.
Yeah.
He's a great player.
He also forgot to tackle Dante Dowdell when he was going into the end zone.
You say the word forgot. I don't agree with that word choice.
Also a video of 2 other videos of Travis Hunter engaging with Nebraska fans, yelling at him before the game. So it appears that they have not become self-aware, particularly on this account quite yet. But it's coming. It's coming.
It's coming.
I
see what you did there.
Don't worry. It's been a lot of fun over the last couple days, and now we're on to Northern Iowa.
On to the Panthers.
Yep. Sal writes in.
Hi, Sal.
How would this have played out for Prime if he had taken the Arizona State job instead of Colorado? Different at all or same, you think? Well, we wouldn't care as much.
Right.
I don't know. I'd be laughing more, and I'd be less spiteful. I'd be less vindictive than I am right now.
There's some violations they have to overcome there at Arizona State, so maybe it's worse.
Right. It would have gone the same. His kids would have gone there.
Yeah.
And they, maybe it's a little different considering the fan base. I mean, that fan base that Colorado fan base will still tell you, it's like, yeah, we're relevant. Like,
that's all we want.
That's all we wanted. And the truth is, that's not true.
Yeah.
That's not all you want. It's great that people watch you on TV. It's a lot of fun that people watch you on TV, but it's all tied to him. Once he leaves, it's gone. And you're not winning football games in the meantime. Once again, I reiterate the point from last week, which was we have moved the goalposts on this so much. They were like at the top of the college football world a year ago today, basically.
Uh-huh.
They were supposed to go to the playoff. They were supposed to it was supposed to be a quick fix. All the talent that he had and the player, and especially those two in particular, who have been good, who have lived up to the billing in Shedeur and Travis Hunter. But now, a year later, I mean, they finished that season horribly, and they've started this season really suspectly. I mean, maybe the answer to all this is Nebraska is just a really good team. But, it's the North Dakota State result paired along with the Nebraska results as well. And now they have another big rivalry game with Colorado State where they're going to be angry and they're going to want revenge after last year. If they lose that one, I could see this getting really, really sideways really fast.
I would ask Colorado fan, just in general, what's better? Either way, you're going to go 4-8. 4-8 and nobody knows you exist, or 4-8 with 3 really good players and everyone's laughing at you. That sounds like the more frustrating.
You know what? You're
version.
Right. Would you rather be bad in anonymity?
Yes, I would. It would be so frustrating to watch.
That's true.
Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, Jimmy Horn Jr. and go, those players are really good. Why are we so bad?
Because if
everyone's laughing at us.
Colorado fans would admit this. I mean, when they were really bad in the lead up to Coach Prime getting there, after they went to the Pac-12 title game in 2016,
I forget.
They did.
I am people.
They did. I mean, they were okay, but they were really, really bad in the 2 years prior.
Mm-hmm.
The Colorado fans just went away.
Yeah.
They just weren't there. They just didn't exist. They didn't talk about their team. They didn't care about their team. There was no conversation regarding their team. And now they've been awakened and been summoned, and it's by this guy who also turns out to be bad. So now you have to actually stay a fan. You actually have to be this, the Skull Buffs guy all the time and just take it from everybody instead of just sliding yourself back into anonymity.
Homer Simpson through the bushes.
Yeah, you could have done that.
Yep.
Instead, you hitched your wagon to the Husker man. Didn't go well.
No.
Can't wait to see how this year plays out. For the Buffaloes. Definitely can't wait to see how this weekend plays out for them as well. All right, off and running on a Tuesday. Connor Happer, Josh Hodson with you live at Werner Park. We'll come back. I have a question for you, which we'll get to a little bit later on in the show. We'll also hear some Matt Rule press conference from yesterday, the Big Ten report card, and, of course, talk some volleyball tonight with Creighton and Nebraska getting going. We're about an hour away from first pitch here at Werner Park. Come on out, enjoy some day baseball with us, Connor and Josh, on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. More of the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620. Look who it is. It's Gary Sharp. There it is.
I know him.
It's the official score. Boo! We hate the official scores. 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Got a tweet here from Tom with a H.
Hello, Thom.
Happer. Last Thursday, you predicted if Nebraska beat Colorado that the next 4 weeks would be tough to get up for. You were so right. Man, I should just screenshot that. You were so right.
Mm-hmm.
Northern Iowa, ugh. Got to tell myself to stay focused. This is what you get when you're good.
Yeah, this is the one, right? This is the one that's going to be tough, right?
People talked about how boring is back with Nebraska football, and you might be bored by it. And to an extent, and we're going to hear from Matt Rule in just a couple minutes here, to an extent, I think you heard the tone that you heard in Matt Rule's press conference yesterday was a challenge to his team to remain focused. Like, we haven't seen them in this position. They haven't been this comfortable.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So I think that is definitely one of the things that he's challenging his group with this week. And he could also get their attention with the idea that they are a different challenge than Colorado presents as well. It's a good FCS team. It's a team that wants to run the ball instead of like spread you out and throw it all around the yard and stuff like that. So I think he's pretty well got their attention. But as far as like the viewer, you and I are concerned, yeah, it's difficult.
Best last chance to work out any kinks you think you may still have, any issues, any struggle points before you get into Big Ten play. And Northern Iowa is going to prep you for that pretty well, I would think.
They are, I don't know what I haven't checked the FCS rankings, but someone was saying that.
I heard like 12th, 15th, something like that.
Well, we are back. The PA man is here. Jared has got it rocking today.
Jared.
The FCS rankings have Northern Iowa in this week at unranked.
Oh, I misheard. I apologize.
They are receiving votes. Ooh. They are 2-0, 26, 27, 28. They're 29th. So
Battle of the Unbeaten.
Top 30 teams in both FBS and FCS. That's not the point. Tom, once again, thank you for telling me that I was right. We appreciate all of that.
Great way to get your
you're going to get read every time.
Your correspondence read on the air.
All right. So speaking of being bored or how much you're paying attention, TV ratings. Ooh. NBC yesterday announced some of its highlights from Week 1, in which they had Thursday Night Football with the NFL and Baltimore and Kansas City. They had Sunday Night Football with Carrie Underwood and the cool Jersey Detroit Lions. Very good job by them, doing a nice job on those uniforms. And the Scott Frost-led Los Angeles Rams. And they had Big Ten Saturday night. And didn't they have Brazil on Friday, too?
They did.
And there you go.
That was a Peacock exclusive.
So here's what NBC's PR is telling us. I'll read it exactly. Despite a lopsided 28-0 halftime score, Nebraska's 28-10 victory over Colorado on Saturday averaged 6.3 million viewers on NBC and Peacock, marking the most watched Big Ten Saturday night game since the series debuted a year ago.
Over most watched game ever.
On NBC Big Ten Saturday night.
The most watched game ever.
Yes. Our dear friend John Bishop has compiled this list of most watched games since 2013. This would go as the fourth most watched game featuring Nebraska since 2013. Number one being the Capital One Bowl against Georgia in 2013.
Why are there so many bowl games?
Last year's game against Colorado got nearly 9 million viewers when Prime Mania was really rolling.
It was cooking.
So I think that's pretty representative of something there, right? The 2 million cutoff there, same time of year.
That's all Colorado viewership, right?
I mean,
theoretically
in 2023.
Yeah. The drop off.
Oh, the drop off.
Yeah,
I would think so. I would think so. It's Colorado responsible for sure. Thanks again, Colorado. The USC Holiday Bowl in 2014, and then this past Colorado game just over the weekend, 6.3 million viewers. It goes as the fourth most watched game. Nebraska's had about 10 games since 2013 to go above 5 million. 4 of those were against Ohio State. and the last two against Colorado, each over 6 million viewers. They also why they were there, we don't care.
Right.
Nebraska's defense got to show off on national television. They got to show off their new quarterback. And now as a result, I've seen 1 billion amateur scouts on YouTube talking about how good Dylan Raiola is. Have you seen the video from Aaron Murray? Aaron Murray, former Georgia quarterback, has created himself a YouTube channel where he breaks down QB tape. And what he did was used his time to explain how Nebraska's wide receivers didn't try very hard, and Dylan Raiola is incredible.
Oh, okay.
That was big.
He questioned the effort?
At times, yes.
Okay.
At times.
Wow.
Yes. In the case of, I think Banks and Nair in particular, like on a couple individual plays, which Matt Rule did. Again, now it brings in a question about the wide receiver room, and that leads us to our first clip of the day, which we are going to hear now from Matt Rule. I thought this was the most noteworthy thing that happened yesterday, and that was said by Matt Rule. Here he is talking about Dylan Raiola's performance and how everybody else needs to catch up to him.
The offense, a lot of them have to pick their intensity up to his level, not the other way around. He's trying to throw the ball to guys that are supposed to be in certain places and they're not there. He's at a whole other level, and those other guys better pick it up. That's said respectfully and with love. And I only say that because you guys sometimes ask me, like, hey, did you not throw it as much in the second half because of him? No, because of everyone else. Because other guys weren't playing at the level I wanted, and so we're having free runners, like, they blitz us and the back misses it or the tackle misses it, and he's having to run around and make plays, but we had guys running wide open. We could have scored a lot more points. We threw a lot of shots in that game. A lot of them just didn't get thrown because he had to run, so we had no sacks because he avoided guys. But Dylan, through 2 games, Dylan's done everything you could want, except he didn't milk the clock enough going into the 2-minute last game. And that's the main thing I had for him. He can be sometimes too aggressive at times, and so me and him that's not Glenn, that's me and him just situationally communicating. But Dylan's doing a great job. I need everyone else to understand that, like, if a freshman knows all 120 plays in the game plan, then as a junior, I better know all 120 plays or 80 plays, whatever's in the game plan, I better know them and be able to operate them. Because you get into 2-minute, Sam, especially early in the year, we didn't know what they were going to do in 2 minutes. A new coordinator from Cincinnati. I mean, we might watch so much Cincinnati Bengals film. We didn't know what it was going to be. All of a sudden, it's cover 2. We're calling cover 2 beaters. When we practice for man all week, right? We go right to cover 2 beaters. He's over there like, hey, let's go to this play, and he hits it. If he knows that, like from camp, everyone else better know that. And that's what we have on defense. We have a level of accountability that's unmatched, and that's what we're getting on offense right now. And so that's why I'm saying it out loud, because we should have scored 42 or 50 points. We had some really selfish penalties. Not selfish in a bad way. Selfish in a, oh man, I don't want to get beat, so I'm going to tackle this guy here, as opposed to just do your job, man. Trust yourself. So we still have some evolution on offense to do.
That's Matt Rule at the press conference yesterday. Really interesting stuff. Not only it's a rare moment of Rule heaping praise upon his 19-year-old quarterback, which is I think that's a side story here. I think the main story is what's behind the messaging in saying, hey, these guys need to pick it up on offense because he's doing everything right. What else, and to be honest with you, I don't think this is a referendum on the receivers as a whole, like on those 2 guys as a whole, Banks and Nair. But if we're, you watch a Aaron Murray thing and he really breaks it down pretty good. And I think he's right. Like, there was just a little laziness getting into some cuts and some breaks and stuff like that. And it's, like I said, it doesn't make them bad receivers. It just means, and Rule also mentioned this yesterday, and, I don't know who you care about.
Said with respect and love.
Opinions more, Aaron Murray or Matt Rule. But one thing that Rule did say yesterday at the end of the press conference was, I thought we got tired. And a lot of that stuff that Murray was picking out on his tape, on his grinding tape, whatever he's doing over there on YouTube, was like, yeah, there's some effort stuff here that just needs to be better. So I think it's and Rule does this in the public a lot. Like, He'll just challenge guys, especially if he thinks they can handle it. And he'll say, hey, look, you need to, it needs to be a little bit better. You need to match this guy here because and give Colorado credit because they were heating him up in the right places too. So his clock was a little accelerated. He had to get the ball out. But I thought it was really interesting on a couple different levels in what Rule had to say about how the offense went on Saturday. It's fascinating to me.
Something to watch going forward for sure. The Phil Jackson of our time, Matt Rule, using the media to question players, and most of the time it works. Or
if they can handle it, If they can, and if it comes off the right way, that's important too.
Said with respect and love.
You have to know how to say it, and I think Rule knows how to say it, mostly because he's already talked about it with these guys. It's like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
Why aren't you getting into this break a little bit quicker? Mm-hmm. Joel writes in on Twitter,
Hi, Joel.
on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed, lesser coaches would have just thrown out half the playbook if they weren't prepared for cover two.
We laugh to stop ourselves from crying because that's exactly right.
Indeed. Look at that.
Why would you tell somebody that? I know we've done that 100 times, but just every time I hear it, I'm like, why would you tell us that?
Did we lose the stream here momentarily? I don't know, but we're still cooking on the radio.
You're frozen.
Anyway,
I'm good.
You're. Oh, okay. Maybe I just lost the internet momentarily. Oh, I'm back.
You're gonna want that internet.
Okay. Couple comments here. Travis, Coach TBB is gonna turn it up this week. For the record, once again, I am Team Coach TBB.
We like him.
Team Coach TBB, meaning the acronym there is Tiny Baby Boy, which we don't say anymore.
We don't call him that.
We don't say that anymore. His name is Garrett, 1T, and
a man's name.
I think we'll get him right, mostly because they're experienced guys, and they, and I like they've made plays before, and like it's a good chat. I think it's a worthwhile, like you could almost view it as using a challenge flag in a game, right? You only get so many of them a year if you're the coach. You're like, let's throw this out there and let's see who bites. Let's see if it works. Hopefully I get it back at the end. And I think he will. Like I think those guys will answer that bell. Also, you do have to take into account the strength of that Colorado defense. I mean, their secondary is pretty good and athletic and skilled, and Hunter did a really, really good job. I mean, I think we mentioned a play yesterday where, I don't know where I talk on too many things, but it was they threw a little bubble screen or something in the flat out to either they threw it to Banks, I think, or maybe it was Ramir, and if Nair gets the block on Travis Hunter, it's a first down at least. He might be going down the sideline, but Hunter is a friggin' snake, and he just slithered right through there.
Slippery.
Yeah, he was incredible. He's a really, really good player. He's also more physical, I think, than people give him credit for. I know that the one on tape is him not tackling Dante Dowdell, but that was a tough look for him. I think it's a great challenge to that room and a great point in the season to do it. And I think it's, overarching, it is the best thing that could have happened to this team to have that kind of performance, win by 18 comfortably over your rival on like this big, big night for Nebraska athletics and big, big night for Nebraska football, and still say, see, we're not good enough. Don't you feel like you could have won that game by 40 points if you wanted to? Wouldn't that have been nice if we won that game by 40 points? And, they had an opportunity to do so. So I thought that was a worthwhile challenge there from Matt Rule. Other problems for Nebraska football, of which they have a couple.
Oh, my.
Here is Rule yesterday on his special teams play.
The worst special teams performance I've had in a long time. The worst. I don't know. I'm disappointed. And it's a lot of things, right? It's not any one thing. It's a lot of things. It's we run down the opening kickoff, and we set the tone with some big hits, but we're not leveraging the ball, so the next one comes out. Like, thank goodness John Holtz might be the fastest kicker I've ever seen, because he runs Jimmy out of bounds. We get a punt blocked. That's not supposed to happen. Now we blocked a field goal, which is awesome. We have some goals about that. Buschini was a weapon. Like when the complimentary football was good, like the first drive we stopped them, they punt the ball to IGC. It bounces twice. He picks it up and he gets the ball back to the 50. Like, people aren't talking enough about what Isaiah's doing for us in the punt return. Yeah, he dives and catches the one. I don't love the dive, but he catches one at the 30. Then we go down and score in 2 minutes. So he's doing a great job. Kickoff return, the first one should have been a big hit. We don't hit it. The second one, the ball hits the ground. Now, I know Jacory lost it in the lights, and we practiced at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I put that on me. Maybe we're not catching up probably on the lights. Like last year, we practiced Wednesday nights. So I'll have to do some more of that this week. And then, we missed a field goal, and the snaps haven't been great on field goals. So I feel like the kickers now are worried about that. So there's a lot of things that aren't real good. We got the right man for the job, and Ed, he'll get it fixed. But the guys, I think the guys have to recognize that, we've got to do a better job, and I think they all felt that.
That part at the end there is probably the one that bothered me the most. But quickly, that was where he was then asked, these night games, what do you think about playing all these night games and how good is it? And he talked about how great it was for the fans and how important it was, to get noticed on national TV. But that's when he had the line about kegs and eggs in football, 9 o'clock, let's just go. But that's a real thing.
Every coach hates night games.
But they practice at 9 o'clock in the morning. They practice in the morning every day, and so they're used to playing in those conditions. And so maybe you lose a ball in the lights because you're not prepared for it, but that's another thing they have to make a contingency on. But that part there at the end, that answer and the way he sort of cut it apart, I think it's concerning. It's really concerning. Where Nebraska, obviously you guys could see it on the field, but if we're talking about a hurt, let's start here. Tristan Alvano is a kicker who already had confidence issues stemming from last year, and then he had an injury, and he hasn't really kicked in a game since, and then he's in a kicker battle basically for the majority of fall camp while kind of nursing this injury all at the same time. And then he comes back only to find that the snaps are too high and too soft and a little bit late. That is a boiling water combination. That is not something that you want to dip your toe into. It's not going to work like that. So whatever needs to happen first needs to happen now and needs to happen consistently, because it doesn't just you don't just get good kicking for one game, Right. Hopefully Nebraska, if they're in a situation where, it's tight and it's late, they can get lucky. But as of right now, I have little to no confidence that Nebraska can go up there and knock down a field goal of any range right now. And Saturday night should have proved that to you. It was a 32-yard kick. Yeah. It was easy.
Yeah.
And there was no pressure. It was 14-0. You're kicking into I think it was a north wind on Saturday night. You're kicking with the wind. That was in the south end zone. I want to say that's right. Everything should have gone right on that. And that was a situation. That's like that's the easy 5-yard dink and dunk pass to get the quarterback going. It's like, let's get this guy out there and get him a field goal. I've seen people mention that this week when they, in their correspondences with this show. Why don't they just get him out there for a couple, like in situations where, you would be going for a touchdown here. Let's just get him out there and kick a field goal. You can't manufacture situations for him to get better. That's the difficulty of kicking. If it's not good, you can't trust it.
Yep.
And you can't put it out there.
Yep.
So that's where Nebraska's sadly at the moment.
Well, what have we said when it comes to so many deficiencies over the years? Why don't they do X, Y, Z? Because they can't. Why don't they run the ball? Because they can't. Why don't they kick a field goal in this situation? Because they can't.
Travis writes in on YouTube.
Hi, Travis.
The mental effect on kicking is right up there, maybe even more with golf and pitching. Oh, we've seen dudes get the yips before. That's for sure. Maybe the answer is just having Dylon going back there and pooch punting all the time. That's where he said he bladed his 9-iron or whatever, bladed his sand wedge.
That's right.
Which he did. Come on, man. You got to get that thing up in the air,
Loft it.
That's your one job. You can't kick it into the end zone on that.
No.
So even that went badly.
That's why you're out there.
It almost checked up at the 2-yard line, which would have been amazing.
It would have.
I would have loved to see Aaron Murray's film breakdown of that one. That would have been really good. But it is a real thing right now. And I guess I was just before the season, we talked about it a bunch, and you just hope with time that it gets better. But arguably, it has gotten worse in the meantime and less decisive. And I mean, I didn't know in the preseason about this whole snap thing. It's been bad. I got a chance to really zone in on it on Saturday night, and you really see it from the behind the kicker angle when you're watching on TV. I mean, they are soft snaps, and they are too high, and they are difficult for the holder to get down, which I think is Buschini, right? And then you already have a kicker who's not confident in himself stepping up there. So it's a horrible combination. So Nebraska's going to be in trouble if they don't fix some of it. Seriously. I don't mean to
they're going to get in some close games and need something they can lean on. Like, okay, their red zone defense is keeping us out of the end zone. We need 3 here.
What'd you think about the sort of vote of confidence there for Ed Foley? He kind of mentioned he Ed's the right guy for he's kind of stopped and was like, Ed's the right guy for the job. Don't worry, he'll get it fixed. It's like, yeah, number 1. Number 2, that sounds weird.
That's where I'm at.
Number 3, Willie? It's kickers and snappers and holders, not that Nebraska doesn't have issues elsewhere, schematically. Those are the things that Ed Foley can do. Get people in the right place. But getting the kicker in a position mentally where they could put him out there and step up and make a kick, I don't know if Ed Foley controls that. I don't know that's his problem. People like to blame special teams coordinators for that stuff, but I don't think that's his deal.
Weird thing to bring up in between the second and third games of the season, completely out of the blue.
It's not like Nebraska's special teams just in general have been this shining bright example of, good over the last 2 years.
Right.
That's one of the things that I thought that they would really figure out pretty quickly. Given how detail-oriented they are, I just thought that they would be able to really get good at that really fast.
And that was an area of need when they got here, so you would think, okay, immediately we're going to fix this and this and this, and that would have been one of the things.
They've gotten better they've gotten mildly better in the punt game. It's still inconsistent. They've gotten much better in the return game. That could end up being a positive for them with Garcia Castaneda, who seems to be doing a pretty good job. But outside of that, boy, there's nothing really convincing right now on the special teams on that third phase of the game. Right. So something to watch for, of course, going forward. Honestly, here's the other difficult part about it. Can you guys see Casey on the table behind us?
Oh, wow.
Josh, tilt your computer down just a little bit. Casey's literally on top of a table dancing. What's going on out here at Werner Park?
You never know.
you never know. But so looking forward to this week, Nebraska's going to win. They're going to win comfortably. They're going to they're probably not going to turn the ball over. Their defense is going to play lights out. They're going to win 35-7 or something.
Why would you just go on the radio and say that?
I don't know. It's kind of like predictions are our thing around here. But they're going to win comfortably. They're going to win 35 or 42-7 or something like that. And what's going to happen is there's going to be all of this focus and attention on what you do in the kicking game. And so now it's like this self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
It's just it's like a horrible situation to be in. We're going to get, I don't know who's doing overreaction this week. Jimmy Allen and
John Bishop.
Have fun, because you're going to get a lot of calls about kickers and snappers and holders and punters.
I noticed from my living room that the snap was a little wobbly. I know when I was a left guard 38 years ago.
Texter writes in from the 402.
Hi, 402.
If Ed was the right guy, would it even be a problem? Like I said, I don't think you look at the special teams coach and now he's the guy responsible ultimately for it. But once again, we're talking about highly specialized things here. You have to care about it. You have to put the time and effort into it. But ultimately, the kicker has to go out there and kick it. Ultimately, I have to go up there on a par 3 and put it on the green.
Right.
Nobody could teach me to do that.
And now, if you do in fact have the yips or something adjacent to the yips, everyone's asking you about your yips or about your problem.
Yeah,
which
not a good situation.
Is going to amplify it.
Not a good situation.
Yeah.
All right, we are live out here at Werner Park. Connor Happer, Josh Johnson with you on the Connor Happer Show. One more tweet before we take a break and get to Allan Bell. Coming up after this. Joel writes in.
Hi, Joel.
Says, I'll give them some credit. They've blocked at least 4 kicks since Rule's been here. I think they're good at scheming. They just need some better guys. You're seeing it in the return game. Now they need to find a kicker. I think it's as simple as that.
Maybe they have a kicker.
Maybe they got a kicker in case this would happen, and we haven't. I mean, Hull hasn't kicked a field goal, right? And he hasn't kicked an extra.
Think so.
He might have kicked an extra point in the first game there, but I think it's been all Alvano to try and get his confidence back. So maybe you'll see a change in that. You're right, though. I mean, they blocked a kick, and they saw it on tape. They said, Ty Robinson goes, "Yeah, I knew he was going to kick the ball low." It was like, I knew I was going to have a chance to block it. And he said on the other one, the 100-yard field goal that they tried idiotically, he was like, yeah, that one went right through my hands. It was like, I should have blocked that one too. So that we knew that he was going to kick it low. So there's some things about the special teams that are good. That's why I'm not looking at it fully like, hey, what's this guy doing over here? He's no Bruce Reed yet, right? But, people are going to start talking about that in that context because the kicking game is certainly not going well right now, and it will cost Nebraska if they don't figure it out. One more text from Michael.
Hi, Michael.
If only Nebraska had a special teams analyst on the staff. I wonder if we know anyone who's available.
Well, that guy is not available.
I don't think we could go 1 segment without referencing Scott Frost. I don't think we actually can do that.
Why would we?
We wouldn't want to try. It's funny. It happened. It's over. It's funny now.
Right.
Time plus tragedy. All right, we'll be back. Josh is going to have a chat with Allan Bell, talk about week number 1 in the NFL. I'm going to go do my other job for the moment. We'll have the odd news coming up, and then I got a big question for you coming up at the top of the noon hour. It's the Connor Happer Show live from Werner Park here on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, 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 money.
Allan Bell, the AB3 on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Connor Happer Show, 1620 The Zone. We are live at Werner Park today. Last time we get the opportunity to do that this season. Connor is, dancing on the dugout, shaking hands, kissing babies, all that sort of thing. So producer Josh flying solo. But luckily, I have my good friend Allan Bell here with me. Allan, how we doing?
Josh, my man, doing fantastic. Hey, Connor, he's up there playing the politician role, huh?
Yeah, he does this like MC, like, hey, time for the Dizzy Bat Race or whatever. So like 3 or 4 times a year, we take him out to the ballpark and have him do both jobs at the same time and make him look like a fool.
There you go. When you have friends like that, who needs enemies? You know what I mean?
Exactly. So, Allan, I want to ask you about one of the big stories from last night's Monday Night Football game, the Christian McCaffrey injury sitting. What does Allan Bell, a man much smarter than myself, make of the whole Christian McCaffrey situation?
Well, let me say this: it stinks for the betting community. That was tough to deal with. Right now, we all had an idea that it could happen, but who really thought that it would? You know what I mean? And the fact that the 49ers knew on Friday, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's gamesmanship. That's what you're doing, I guess. But it stinks when you're, putting money on this thing. That was tough. I'm fascinated to see. The league won't do anything, I don't think, because they didn't really break any rules. But, these injury reports are there for a reason. And I don't think the league's going to be happy about that. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah. He was listed as questionable, I guess, but
yeah.
I guess I still don't know. Something feels weird about it, and I don't know what it is that feels weird.
Yeah,
about
see, that's the problem, right? It's like, okay, well, the team knew on Friday that he wasn't going to play. It's not like it's committing a felony. It's not against the NFL rules per se, like you said. I mean, he was listed as questionable, but yeah, like it just feels. I don't know. This is one of those rare answers where, like you just said, like, I don't know, but it doesn't feel okay. If that makes sense, that's about the best answer that we have. It's not illegal, but it's not on the up and up,
Definitely. Allan Bell joining us. You can follow him on Twitter at Allan G. Bell. Tons of tips and tricks there from him. What were your other takeaways from week 1 of the NFL?
Man, Cowboys look great. They did a great job up there. Handled business against Cleveland. Deshaun Watson, man. He's arguably one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. Like, not even middle of the road. He's played horrible. I'm just so surprised by that. The Panthers, going to be a tough year, fellas. Going to be a tough year over there in Charlotte. And give credit to the Saints. I mean, they look good. And then the Chiefs, like, we just have to say it. The Chiefs handle business. That's just what they do. I don't know if the Ravens or anybody is ever going to top this dynasty. I know it's week 1. I'm not screaming that they're going to go undefeated. I'm not saying that. But Patrick Mahomes is just the man. I mean,
they beat a good team. They found a way to win. They always find a way to win.
They do. Like, they're so well coached. They play hard. And you got Michael Jordan, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we get to watch Michael Jordan in the NFL in real time. And who would have thought that, like, after Tom Brady and everything that he accomplished, like, Mahomes is he's just the man, dude. Like, that, I can't say any more praise than that. Like, he's the man.
So you're based in Nashville. I'm a Titans fan. I'm going to ask this question as delicately as possible. What the hell?
I know. Well, okay, so first off, Brian Callahan, the new head coach, he's got to understand that, 17-3, you can't coast on that, pal. Like,
right.
You can't start shutting it down, planning for dinner. Like, you got to keep going. So he takes a couple drives off, and then, Will Levis is a crazy person, and he'll throw it wherever. It's a bad combination because when you start shutting it down and then you got to pick it back up real quick, these are the kind of things that happen. It's first time he's been a head coach in a game, and it's a tough one when you lose to a team that doesn't score an offensive touchdown. That's brutal. But other than that, I mean, you live and you learn. That's who this team is. Like, they score 17 points a game. I don't care where they play, who they play. They're going to score 17 points. That's what the Titans have done for 3 years.
Absolutely. Allan Bell joining us here, shifting to the college game, but again, using your expertise of your locale. Them Volunteers got themselves a good win.
Yeah, they did. Vols look good. Nebraska looked good. What a good weekend, man. It was fantastic. I love to see it on both sides. Let me say, I don't think that NC State was as great as we all kind of made them out to be. And I'm not saying that against NC State. I'm saying that Tennessee played good, but there are still going to be bigger tests coming. Oklahoma's coming, pretty soon. We'll see about them. But, you can't complain if you're a Tennessee fan. I mean, this team finally has depth. It's something that they haven't had in forever. Nico looks good as the young quarterback. They finally have an offensive line again. It just feels good. And then, what's the talk about Nebraska? That was a huge win against Colorado. Looked fantastic. Matt Rule's having a good time. From my perspective, it looked fantastic.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a party here for the first half on Saturday, and then the second half was kind of a little snoozer, came a ref show. But
ref show, and then you just shut it down. You say, all right, well, we're just going to put you out of business now. Then you made Deion's kid. He walked off the game early. I was going crazy. Nebraska fans were having a blast. I was having a blast right there with them.
What lines are you seeing this weekend, whether it be college, pro? What piques your interest?
Yeah, so I'll say this, man. I haven't dug full into college football just yet. I'm kind of taking a cursory look. But the NFL, man, I'm fascinated here. All right, what do we do with this Bills-Dolphins game? Thursday night football. It's a short week. The Bills looked good offensively. I think the Cardinals are going to be all right, so I don't put too much on their defense. The Dolphins, I mean, I don't know what that was. I don't think the Jaguars are all that good.
Mm-hmm.
Tyreek getting arrested before the game probably didn't help. I am fascinated with this game because I think that it is going to be just an awesome game. And then we got the Saints, the Cowboys, man. The Saints look great, but again, it was against the Panthers.
They're going to make a lot of teams look great.
Man, they are, right? That's the thing. I am just so fascinated, man, with where this Dolphins and Bills game is going to go. I'm just so fascinated. You got the Dolphins 1.5 favorites, a total of 48.5. We saw a ton of unders in week 1. I'll say this. You get the Ravens minus 9.5 feels good. I know that that's a massive spread, but I feel like the Raiders played a little over their head, and the Ravens are going to come out looking for just absolute beatdown. I actually dig that. The Browns +3, love that one on the road. 49ers Vikings, 49ers +6. I'm down with that one.
Are you seeing? I thought of this over the weekend and thought I would ask you. Are you seeing any changes in the way teams play in the preseason or don't play in the preseason now? It's like teams like the Bengals. It seems to take them about 3 weeks to wake up. They treat week 1, 2, 3 like the preseason now. Are you seeing certain teams okay, I know to stay away from them in the early first month of the season because I know that they're not awake yet?
Yeah, it's interesting. All right, so let's use 2 teams. So the Bengals, you're exactly right. They're notoriously bad in week 1, and especially, Burrow coming off of an injury. I mean, there's going to be some rust there. The 49ers actually were one of those teams. They kind of sleepwalked in week 1 games. They would win, but when you look at it from a betting perspective, Granted, they're generally always pretty large favorites. They kind of changed that around yesterday, even without McCaffrey. But the Bengals are notoriously the worst. Like they start this thing so slow. The Ravens have a little bit of that, although they score points. I am fascinated to see that. Like, I think if there's any team to bet on in week 2, it's the Ravens. Going back home, big time.
Okay, we'll love a tip like that, Alan. I'll leave you with this. We love talking to you about your food takes. Allan Bell goes to the baseball stadium. What's he getting?
Ooh, great question. All right, I'm very, very simple. All right, I like a Mountain Dew to drink. All right, I'm gonna go with nachos. Throw a bunch of cheese. I need as much cheese as possible and meat if it's possible, but I won't be greedy. And then a solid. I'm a hot dog guy. All right, are you guys hamburger or hot dog guys, or do you go with like the chicken sandwich? Because those are generally your 3 options.
Right. Unless you want to pay like $30 and get the mountain of meat sandwich that comes in a baseball helmet, and we cover it in barbecue sauce. I generally go cheeseburger. I'll mix it up and throw a hot dog in there every now and then.
Yeah, you can't go wrong. You know what I mean? Like, you can't go wrong at all. I'm just a hot dog guy, man. Like, I don't know what it is. I want the onions, and I want spicy mustard. That's all I want on it. Onion, spicy mustard, man. I'll eat 20 of those things, dude. I love them.
All right, Allan Bell. You can follow his stuff at Allan G. Bell on Twitter. Allan, we thank you so much. Go make a lot of people a lot of money this week.
I appreciate you, brother. Good talk to you, man. You have a good.
All right, there he is. Allan Bell. Love our weekly sit down with him. When we come back, we normally do the odd news at 11:45. I don't like doing it by myself. I've realized that over the summer, whether it be because Connor's gone and I'm hosting the show by myself, or I'm out here at Werner Park talking to myself, I don't like doing the odd news by myself. So we will not do the odd news at 11:45. We'll do it later in the show when Connor Happer can join me and we can laugh together. So I think we might do. The bottom 5 teams in the NFL. I think we might bring back that yearly tradition when we come back. Connor Happer Show. We are live at Werner Park today. We're about 20 minutes from first pitch. Plenty of room down here. You can watch the Omaha Storm Chasers. Their final home weekday game. So we'll be live at Werner Park all afternoon long. Come out and join us, say hi, and take in a baseball game. It is the Connor Happer Show, 1620 The Zone. a tradition unlike any other. Every week, most of the time, during the National Football League season, you watch the good teams, I'll take care of the bad teams. This is producer Josh's bottom 5 NFL teams of the week. And, well, hard to make some assessments after the opening week of the league, but this is generally the week it's funniest to look back on at the end of the year, right? But I think I've got 3 teams in here that are going to stay in here the entire NFL season and don't really have a lot of hope of emerging out, clawing their way out of the bottom 5. Every team in the league hates being on this list. They hang it on the bulletin board and they go, look what this idiot, look what this fat, slow idiot in Omaha is saying about you. You don't like that, do you? So I will rank the 5 worst teams in the league after one game. That's all I've seen. That's all you've seen. That's all we've seen. So, Joey, we begin with number 5.
God, come on. Take forever.
Number 5.
Now, if you're familiar with this segment, generally, this spot is reserved for not a team that is actually bad. It is more of a memorial spot, more of a, hey, you did a funny thing and we need to laugh at you. And that's what this is. Number 5 is the Cincinnati Bengals. You lost to the Patriots, a team I was pretty darn sure was going to be on this list week in, week out throughout the NFL season. And you lost to them. You had the worst loss of the week. Now, obviously, the Panthers got blown out by more points. The Titans had the worst turnover of the week, but the Bengals had the worst loss of the week from an optics standpoint. They lost the turnover battle 3-0. So just the Bengals do this weird thing where they show up to work week 1, and that's when they start. That's when they start putting in the work, the training that most teams are. They do that in OTAs and training camp and the preseason. Now the Bengals just roll the ball out there week 1 and go, we're the Bengals. We'll be fine. And generally they are fine to a certain extent. So, they will not be here for long. So we put them at number 5 this week. Moving on to number 4.
Number 4.
Number 4, the Cleveland Browns laid a stinker against the Dallas Cowboys. You had America rooting for you, and you failed. You let us down in the worst way possible. One of the best defenses in the league last year allowed 33 points last week. Hi, Connor.
What's going on?
We're doing the bottom 5 NFL teams.
I figured you might.
Number 5, Cincinnati Bengals. Number 4, where we're at right now, Cleveland Browns.
The number 5 worst team.
It's more of a memorial, like, hey, let's laugh at this team
I'm down with that.
They had a bad loss.
They will come up in NFL reaction, overreaction as well.
They will. Another team from the state of Ohio in at number 4, Deshaun Watson, 6 sacks, 2 interceptions, 0 of 15 on passes over 15 air yards.
Bad.
I understand you're paying him a lot of money, but boy, that's over, right? That's over.
That is well over. That is well over. He is absolutely washed, and they don't let him do anything anyway. Like it's a horrible, horrible combination.
I was listening to a podcast from friend of the show, Bomani Jones,
podcast boy,
and he talked about. I was listening at 1x speed, normal speed, and he talked about this thing where when you play one of those national games, whether it be the Thursday night game, the Sunday night game, or that prestigious 3 p.m. window, and you're cooking a big number, and you lay an egg like that, that's when people start to okay, you're done. We're calling for your job now. Orlovsky was like, I take a good look at Jameis.
I would too.
Matter of time before Jameis Winston is playing quarterback for the Cleveland Football Browns.
I got a Browns thing real quick.
Okay.
So I don't know what they had been doing, and maybe this isn't new this year, but I at that game, I watched a good chunk of it popped up on Red Zone on Sunday, and it looked so good. Their helmets for the last several years have been like matte, kind of.
Uh-huh.
They're now back to the sparkly kind of like polished finish.
Okay.
They look amazing. And their field with the Brownie the Elf in the middle looks like pristine.
Huge upgrade.
It does not back up. They have great uniforms. Mm-hmm. It does not back up their team on the field, which is quarterbacked by the aforementioned Deshaun Watson, who aforementionedly stinks.
Mm-hmm.
But give credit to the Browns for at least looking the part. Good job by them.
1 first down, 54 yards at halftime.
Not great.
Not great. Joey, number 3.
3. Combination of 3 and 5.
Number 3.
Many have accused me of being biased when making these lists. Allow me to show you that I am not biased. The Tennessee Titans are the 3rd worst team in the National Football League.
Yeah.
Their defense did not allow a single point.
Yeah.
And they lost 24-17.
Yeah.
The coach.
That was not good.
The coach, after coaching in his first NFL game, said, we would have been better just punting on 1st and 10.
Okay, so the guts of that aren't horrible. Like you said, the defense was pretty good. It was flying around. Are we seeing a resurgent Tony Pollard?
Mm-hmm.
Are we seeing, we know what Tyjae Spears can do. It's a pretty good back. Are we getting a resurgent D-Hop out there in Tennessee? Potential. It's not a great thing to hitch your wagon to aging stars.
Right.
But there's something there. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, their quarterback is a mayonnaise-eating freak.
3 turnovers, and he gave us one of the best surrender cobras of all time.
During the play. Yeah, you guys go ahead and sit right there. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Please, come on down.
We're just chilling.
No, yeah.
He sucks.
Yeah, he's not good. They're probably going to draft a quarterback, and I hope it's not Shedeur. Number 2.
Here comes 2. Number 2.
Fellas, ladies, gentlemen, I have breaking news here. Danny Dimes is not long for this league.
Oh, boy, they are a bad.
New York Giants.
That is a bad team.
You made Sam Darnold.
Now,
you made people go, I think Sam Darnold's going to put it all together.
Let me ask you a question, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a question for you before our next question for you. If given the option to re-sign Saquon Barkley or re-sign Daniel Jones, which one would you do?
Before you finished asking me the question, I would hand Saquon Barkley a contract.
Now, I know that there is a devaluation of running backs in the league. Sure. He looked pretty good in that Friday night against Green Bay.
Sure did. On that terrible turf.
And it's more on the idea of why teams feel like they need to do this just so they have the answer to the question. But what you've done is given yourself another question. Like, okay, we have hey, look, we have a quarterback. Now let's go sign other players. Let's build around the quarterback. But if he's not the right answer, then the whole math equation just completely falls apart.
Yep.
Like, the beard didn't help him.
It did not.
He stinks, and they're in big trouble. I saw some troubling quotes coming out of New Jersey as well after that weekend.
Interesting. Well, that leads us to the number 1, Joey, worst team in the NFL.
It feels good. Haven't heard that in a while.
No, we've also played the You Suck intro.
Oh,
you missed that.
Make it so, number 1.
Number 1.
Now, generally, when we know the worst team in the league, sometimes I'll play around with the numbers. I'll just okay, I know this team's going to sit at number 1 for a long stretch of the season. Why don't I put him at number 3 to
give him a
start
little
the
break.
season? Yeah, I could not do that with the Carolina Panthers.
This is the worst NFL team I maybe have ever seen.
They allowed Derek Carr 47 points. They made the New Orleans Saints look like
it could have been worse.
Yeah.
This is a total embarrassment. Bryce Young's first snap of the season was an interception. I mean,
the Saints scored on like 8 straight drives or something like that.
I don't know where you start. They just got a new head coach.
Yeah.
They just got that guy.
So you're not swapping that out probably.
Like, and you can't say, oh, well, you just fire him at the end of the season. He's going to be a one and done. Like, no. They were already bad before he got there, and he was given an impossible reclamation project. That's a horrible team. Miles Sanders still has a little juice in the legs. I see that from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, it stems from the quarterback, and he is no good.
Yep. They'll have a lot of questions to ask themselves. But luckily, they'll have plenty of time to do it because they will be bad the entire year with no glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
That's the bottom 5.
What a bottom 5, Josh. Thank you. I've been sitting on a sneeze. There's been a sneeze at the end of my nose for like 30 seconds, and it's really bothering me. We're just a couple minutes away from the national anthem. So the Storm Chasers are going to take we're going to try and time this so that the national anthem is during our commercial break so we don't have to be weird about this.
We're respectful.
Yes, we are very respectful. So hopefully
there it is. He got it, ladies and gentlemen.
Hopefully the Storm Chasers starting pitcher is out into the dugout. That's usually the last thing that we wait on before they
See, he knows what to look for. I didn't know what to look for. I saw the flags on the on deck circle, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to hurry through this segment.
Yeah, you see there's no set timing, but there is an order of operations. So usually the last thing that we're waiting on is the starting pitcher to get into the dugout, get up out of his chair, and decide that he wants to go pitch. Today, that'd be Chandler Champlain. Seriously, I stare.
I love baseball so much.
I stare daggers at the pitcher. I'm like, are you going to decide that you're going to get up and go pitch now? Because we got to start this thing at 12:05. Now, luckily, we're a little bit ahead of schedule here at Werner Park at the moment. Michael writes in on the text line.
Hello, Michael.
On your very appropriate ranking of Carolina as the worst team in the NFL. Do you think Rule is laughing at Carolina?
I don't know if laughing is the right word, but some vindication,
maybe
I told them.
Yeah, he won't say anything about it. That's for sure. Okay, Chandler Champlain has decided that he would like to go out and pitch today. We're just a moment away from the national anthem. We'll be back. I got a question for you on the other side. It's a sign or roll, one of my favorite radio bits. Coming back on 1620 The Zone. Welcome back to Werner Park. Connor Happer and Josh Hodson with you for day baseball, which is set to throw first pitch in just one moment. The Omaha Storm Chasers and the Toledo Mud Hens. We'll see how long this lasts. We're at 12:05 right now. Hopefully the Storm Chasers weren't lying to us and do start at 12:05. That's the hope. People care about that deeply. And who am I to take that away from them? Josh, before we get to the question for you.
Oh, okay.
You pointed this out to me while we were standing for that lovely rendition of the national anthem.
It was a good one.
There's a man to our left, our 9 o'clock, who is wearing a San Diego Chargers baseball jersey.
Los Angeles
and
Chargers.
that is the third football team baseball jersey I've ever seen, all of which I've seen with my eyes, and two of which I've been worn by people who I enjoy greatly. So I don't know. Maybe if this guy follows the trend, then
now
I really like him.
I assume he wore this because the Chasers are wearing their powder blues today, and
he just wanted to be on theme.
Yeah, that'd be my guess.
Maybe he's real fired up for Harbaugh.
I mean, well, how could you not be, right?
Fired up for Harbaugh.
We are underway.
Oh, we are underway with the first pitch swinging.
No hitter.
That's a great sign,
ruined.
Josh. Great sign. Yeah, he did single, but an excellent sign. First pitch swinging. Day games tend to go a little bit quicker.
That's a move.
All right. So I just asked this on social media, but I do have a question for you. You've seen 2 games of this Nebraska football team play.
I have, Connor. Thank you for noticing.
Most have enjoyed what they've seen. And
I have, yes. Sorry.
This is another way of me asking, has anything changed for you? But I'll ask it to you in this way. It's my favorite question to ask. Would you sign if I gave you a contract that said Nebraska will win 8 games this year? Would you sign that contract knowing that if you didn't sign that contract, any other result could happen? It could be 5, 6, 7, or 9, 10, 11, 12. It could be any other result.
12.
Would you sign? Well, they're undefeated right now, are they not?
That is correct.
Would you sign on the dotted line for 8 wins on this here September 10th, 2024? This is maybe one of the toughest sign or roll questions I've ever asked.
I mean, it's
double play. We're rolling.
We're rolling.
We're cooking.
Now, people forget preseason I was a 7-win boy.
Yes. I was an 8. Remember, I went up at the last second because I hate Wisconsin.
Boy, I think if they won 8 games, it might be a bit of a disappointment.
Okay, so let me explain this. So I'll admit that, first of all, I always roll the dice in these scenarios.
You do.
Almost always. Because I believe in remaining untethered, once again. I do not believe in sports pain, or if it affects me, then I will allow it to affect me.
That's
I
right.
believe the true way to be happy about your team is to allow yourself to be hurt painfully. Okay?
Be vulnerable.
So I have untethered myself. And so with that being the case, I oftentimes, almost 100% of the time, roll the dice in these scenarios. But let's go through it. I'll admit it that that ball is off the wall.
Oh, off the wall. Okay.
I have been swept up in it a little bit over the last couple days.
Many are accusing us of overselling this team.
Many are. I've been swept up in a little bit. The buzz about the playoff, the national media enjoying themselves regarding Nebraska, Nebraska's defense, their performances, Dylan Raiola, the whole thing. At the same time, I'll remind people yet again, and this is something that we don't have a full understanding of yet because it hasn't happened. It's not that hard to make the playoff. It's not that hard to make the 12-team playoff. And let me add this to the equation. And this is a more big picture Nebraska football perspective. People love linear growth. So if they win 8 this year, you sign that contract, you sign on the dotted line, and they win their 8 games, then they'll believe that next year is the playoff year, right? Next year is the natural year to take that next step. 8 would be viewed as good, but next year, Matt Rule's got them back, and they're going. Let me remind you of this. Nebraska football in 2025 will not have the following people available to them to play football. Ty Robinson, Nash Hutmaker, John Bullock, MJ Sherman, Tommy Hill, Isaac Gifford, Deshaun Singleton, Turner Corcoran, Ben Scott, Micah Mazuka, Bryce Benhart, Jamal Banks, Isaiah Nair, Ramir Johnson. All of which are impact players.
A lot of single digits you just rattled off.
Almost all of them. It's caught. 3 outs. We're a half inning done. All of which are starters, and all of which are impact players for Nebraska. It's almost all of the defense. And I'm not saying that Nebraska's defense is going to be bad next year, because I don't believe that, because I believe Matt Rule when he tells me that the defense is always going to be good as long as he's here.
Yes.
And Tony White.
Yes.
Will Tony White be here next year?
Almost assuredly not, right?
I think the way I hear Matt Rule talk about this group and the urgency in which he talks about it after that game on Saturday at his Monday press conference, he's thinking, we got no time to waste.
I got to win now.
We got no time to waste. And it's not like a gigantic disappointment if they don't make the playoff.
No.
But they have their eyes set on more than just getting out of here with your 8-4 and saying to being preseason ranked in the top 25 next year and have all that.
Improvement. We gave you improvement.
Say, look, I told you that we were going to get better. No, I think they really, really, really want to make that jump. And then you look at how it comes in context with 2025, and there's just no guarantees, right? I think more and more now in college football, it's a 1-year cycle. And Nebraska has set up this year with a whole bunch of old dudes and a freshman quarterback who they have now proclaimed is further ahead than some of his senior counterparts on the offense, his senior teammates on the offensive side of the ball, Banks, Nair, whoever. And they've said, this guy's doing all the right things. You have to catch up to him. So why don't we treat him like a junior? Why don't we treat him like at least a sophomore, a guy who's been around for a little bit? Because he certainly plays like it. We've said a lot through the first couple of weeks. He's going to make the freshman mistake. He is, because he has so far, right? So I think it's time to take the kid gloves off. Have I convinced you to not sign that piece of paper?
So you looked at it from a much more nuts and bolts perspective, whereas I looked at it from a standpoint of they're going to win at minimum 6 of those first 7 games.
Indeed.
8 would feel horrible.
That would be 2 out of your last 5.
If you won 6 or 7 of your last game. We're pretty sure Wisconsin isn't good at all.
Iowa.
UCLA. We're pretty sure UCLA's Garbo.
And so the 2 games that we're looking at now are Ohio State and USC. And I feel, great point, Josh. Aren't you selling yourself short if you're just saying, okay, we're going to lose 2 more?
I would roll the dice.
Thank you.
And
thank you. Welcome to the club.
It's a difficult decision, but also it's not a difficult decision, if that makes any sense at all.
Hockey Dad writes in.
Hi, Hockey Dad.
I will not sign that. I take my chances on 9 based on the first 2 weekends of what we've seen. I think they start 7-0, and I think Wisconsin and Iowa are not good.
I think I'm almost assuredly wrong with my preseason prediction of 7. And we're 2-0 against not the best competition in the world.
No.
But
okay, now let me dive into that a little further. I think I have an answer, but why? Because I don't know that I would change my win total at this point, but I definitely think more highly of this group for a couple reasons. Why? Why do you think more highly of this group?
That defense.
That's it. That's number one.
That was our offseason conversation. Was the defense good because they were playing the Big Ten West, or is the defense good? That defense is good.
That's number one for me.
Yeah.
That defense is legit, and they are suffocating, and they have gotten havoc without blitzing. I mean, they're good. They're probably better than I thought on the back end. Like, maybe there's still an unanswered question at that other corner, Oppo, Tommy Hill. But, like devil's advocate in the offseason, I was talking about how, are we sure? Are we sure about Tommy Hill? Like, are we sure about Tommy Hill? Like, yeah, we are now sure.
Seems pretty sure
about Tommy Hill. Mm-hmm. He's kind of proven that. So
I think that receiver room it was hyped up, and and that's one of those. Well, is it hype or is it actually that seems to be pretty good? Good position group.
And the offense is not turning the ball over at the very least. And there is a real world where in 3 games, it looks like a much different thing than it is right now because it just coalesces a little bit more. I mean, keep in mind, these are all new pieces, and I'm not, it doesn't have to be based around Dylan, but the other guys kind of catch up, and whatever needs to happen happens, and Nebraska's offense becomes an asset for it. I think more highly of this team than I did 2 weeks ago. There's no way in hell I'm signing that. There's no way in hell I'm signing that contract. I'm not signing it. It's rat poison. I'm not signing it.
I see a lot of people in our YouTube chat saying that no, I will not sign that.
Let's get some specifics here. Let's see. SEAL Team Nick writes in.
Hi, SEAL Team Nick.
The hype train has gone nuclear.
Travis.
Nebraska is ranked. They're in the top 25. People are talking about them as a college football playoff, like they could do that.
Fringe out, yeah.
If you're looking at it honestly through the first 2 weeks of the season, I don't see how they're not one of the best 5 or 6 teams in the Big Ten. They're in the mix.
Travis, if Nebraska goes 10-2, maybe makes the playoff, those recruiting classes are going to jump to the moon.
I think what you said about if they start the way that we all think they're going to start, and then if they end up with 8-4, it's going to feel miserable.
If they went 2 and whatever down the stretch, oh my gosh, people would be sick.
It's going to feel like a giant missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Giant missed opportunity.
Yeah. Because
UCLA is bad.
Wisconsin is ass.
Wisconsin is pretty bad, it seems. Yes. And Iowa, I think, is the same. And Nebraska's beaten them.
Yeah, I feel based on 2 games against lesser competition that Nebraska seems better than Iowa right now.
Chris writes in on...
Or maybe a more versatile team than Iowa. How about that?
They're definitely that. Chris writes in on the Equitable Bank inbox.
Hi, Chris.
Subject line, 11 wins is out there. Ohio State is a given loss, fine. USC's 50-50. The rest we should win, period. Iowa and Wisconsin are nothing to fear this year. I refuse to worry about Illinois and Purdue, and UCLA is hot garbage. There is a real possibility of 10-2 or 11-1. Tell me why I'm wrong. That's hard to imagine. It's hard to imagine.
Yeah.
So that is sort of sobering for the no way in hell I'm signing the 8-win contract thing, because if they're in, no matter what you say, Chris, I am always going to be worried about Illinois and Purdue until Nebraska beats them for 8 years straight. Right. It's just going to it's going to keep being there. And even then,
Illinois has a good coach.
Yes,
we make fun of Brett.
Purdue
a lot.
might. We don't know that.
Yeah.
We don't know that yet. And that game's on the road in a sleepy environment.
And what about Rutgers? Many are asking.
Nebraska got through the main test it was going through in the first 2 games of the season, right? This was the toughest game leading into conference slate.
Indiana can sling it.
And now I think is a really, really good time to just take stock of where people are at. And it seems like people are maybe optimistic.
I'm feeling good about things, and I don't know why we've had to convince people to feel good this week.
Maybe that helps people. You put it in more analytical terms.
Yeah.
And Joel tweets in
Hi, Joel.
at Happer Show, the Wisconsin Badgers, and then it's just a picture of that butt crack coin that we were talking about yesterday. Retweet. Nice job, Joel. Appreciate that.
Good one.
Michael writes in.
Hi, Michael.
Depends if we were 8-0 and lost 4 straight. Yeah, if they were 8-0, they would have beaten Ohio State and then lost 4 straight. That would be a horrible, horrible, horrible time for everybody.
Many have been asking this week if all bets are off, Connor. When are all
What
bets
a question.
off?
What a question.
That was the hurdle in the schedule.
All bets are not off yet.
Okay.
All bets are not off yet. The bets are still on, Josh.
Okay.
I don't know when all bets are going to be off, but it's not yet.
Okay.
Maybe it's after Rutgers. After Rutgers, all bets are off.
Are you saying Rutgers or Ruckers?
Rutgers.
Rutgers. Okay.
Sorry. What do I do say Rutgers.
It sounded like you were saying like Rucker,
Rutgers.
like Rucker Park.
Oh, yeah. I think I do that sometimes. Sorry. Jeff writes in, not signing. Give me all the Kool-Aid. Defense is legit, and Dylon is only going to get better. Happer's meme guy writes in, we've all officially been rule-pilled.
Give me those pills, baby. Nom, 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 nom.
David writes in on Twitter.
Hi, David.
I wouldn't have signed up for just 8 before the season. Why ever limit yourself? Go play the games and see what happens.
Okay.
Me and David were thinking the same, basically.
Yeah.
It's like he seems to be untethered to me.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting himself out of the gulag with that attitude.
You are untethered.
Let's see. Venmo Chris. You can feel good and optimistic without going over the edge of insanity. If Nebraska wins 9+, I will call in and admit being a dumbass on air. That's Chris.
Wow. Thanks, Chris.
There's one out in this inning, and I got to probably go do my job. But we have done this. We have done this segment to great success.
Oh, yes.
And I don't think many people are signing that contract from what it sounds like.
If somebody hands you something, don't sign it.
Don't sign it. It's a trap. It's a trap.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
there's no guarantee on the box.
Josh, you can take a break here or do whatever you want.
Okay.
Are you going to take a? Do you think we should? Do you think I should just send it to break?
Yeah, it seems like this would be a good spot for a break.
Let's take a break.
We're done with this conversation.
Okay.
We can move on to the next.
Josh is going to do something, and then I will rejoin that conversation
Something.
in the next probably 5 or so.
What is it? I don't know.
Connor Happer Show live from Werner Park for Omaha and Toledo. We'll be back to this on 1620 The Zone.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
Odd news time. We're here live at Werner Park. Top of the second as Chasers get out of a bases loaded jam. Just allowed one run. So 1-0 middle two here at Werner Park. Connor is, I call it dancing on the dugout. When I say that, it's not a literal thing. He's literally on the Jumbotron here at Werner Park here. I said I didn't want to do the odd news by myself, but then Connor told me I had to do a segment by myself, and I didn't really know what to do. So we're going to do the odd news. We begin with a story. Oh, I didn't mean to take that piece of paper with me. I'll have to remember to take that home. We begin with skewering the media. Friday night's Duke Northwestern game featured quite a bit of strangeness. The clash in Northwestern's weirdo temporary stadium by the lake, which will be replaced by a permanent weirdo stadium by the lake, eventually saw Duke prevail 26-20 in double overtime. But with significant wackiness on several fronts, one of those fronts, a field invasion from a rabbit who was subsequently chased away by Northwestern mascot Willie the Wildcat. Sorry, I don't have a cough button here. And that sparked a notable call from FS1's Mark Helfrich and Connor Onion, no relation to our own Connor Happer. We have some sort of animal. Is that a rabbit? It's a rabbit. We have a rabbit in the end zone. We're hunting wabbits. That's right, a Bugs Bunny reference in the year of our Lord 2024. I thought my family was the only one that understood the fine work of the Looney Tunes. So the Northwestern mascot was tasked with chasing away a rabbit in the middle of a Power 4 football game. Many brought up the other incidents of, every now and then you'll see, especially in the baseball playoffs, I don't know why this is, you'll see cats on the field in there. Connor Happer back with us here. He just did an immaculate job with the...
you like the Lawler's T-shirt shuffle?
Yeah, T-shirt shuffle from Lawler's.
Yeah.
We're doing the odd news.
Oh, cool.
Northwestern mascot chased a rabbit off the field Friday night.
A wascally wabbit?
A wascally wabbit. And I was talking about how I didn't know people still made references to the Looney Tunes. I thought that was just me. Just me.
I don't know. I think that's people love to say wascally wabbit.
Yeah.
Including myself.
We have a update in Seattle. As Connor, I'm sure you've seen the Tesla Cybertrucks.
I have.
Out and about. Your thoughts?
Ugly.
Yeah.
It's an ugly car.
It is.
I'm sure it's great and great for the environment.
Mm-hmm.
But ugly.
One of them suffered a breakdown in Seattle. The stranded truck has now become a bit of a landmark in the city. It's got damage to the left rear tire, got some suspension failure. So the truck is just sitting on the side of the road in a kind of busy part of Seattle and has become a place people come to visit and take photos with the abandoned Cybertruck. There's even a subreddit. You're familiar with Reddits and subreddits?
I know about Reddit, Josh. I'm not that old.
That's where Nick gets his news for some reason instead of, the news.
Yeah.
Cyberstruck is where people are posting their photos
Cyberstruck
with the beloved broken down Cybertruck. Joey, I'm going to cough again. You can do about that, but
you could have moved your microphone away from your face.
It all happened too quick, Connor. Would you stop to visit and take photos with a broken down Cybertruck?
I would not, but there's a bunch of weirdos in Seattle. I don't know what's going on out there.
There's things to do in Seattle. That's what I keep coming back to when I read and reread this story is there's things to do in Seattle. It's not like, hey, in, forgive me, Columbus, there's a broken down Cybertruck. Let's all go look at the Cybertruck because we live in a town where there's not much to do.
I would not do that.
I wouldn't.
I would not do that.
It would take a lot for me to do that.
I don't know what they're up to up there, but
Seems shifty.
Yeah. By the way,
please.
One quick thing here.
Please,
I have
whatever you got.
received a text from a dear friend of mine.
Oh, no.
Who took a screenshot of the question for you that I just had.
Mm-hmm.
Would you sign on the dotted line for 8 or would you roll the dice and potentially get any other result? The text on it reads, I will not read it verbatim, but I will censor myself. Connor, what kind of dumb bleep question is this? Are you a dumb bleep?
Okay.
I'm not sure why. It hasn't been explained to me yet, but that's just one of the reactions that I've received from my, I thought, decent question.
Many people are raving about the question and the segment.
Okay.
We end the odd news in Russia.
Oh. As we go there sometimes, yes.
We do. St. Petersburg is generally where a lot of this stuff happens. Many are mourning Vladimir. He was a spy that was killed in action. He's also a beluga whale.
Oh. They had a beluga whale working as a spy for him?
Yeah, they apparently strapped, I guess for lack of a better word, a GoPro.
Yeah.
To the whale.
Yeah. There it is. Nice job, Josh.
Yeah, I didn't like it. They put a harness around the whale, strapped a GoPro to him, and just, made him do whale things. And the Russians were checking in.
He died.
Was
he murdered?
TBD on that. They
haven't done an autopsy.
Yeah, the marine biologists are saying that this is a terrible development. Vladimir was found dead off of southern Norway last weekend.
Whales live for many, many years.
A long time.
Yeah.
The marine biologist Sebastian Strand, who worked with this whale, says he's apparently in good condition as of Friday, so we just have to figure out what might have happened here. Vladimir may have died of natural causes, but conservation groups have filed police reports claiming the whale was shot.
Oh, my God.
The Oceanic Preservation Society said that a necropsy will be done. Is that
Yeah, I guess it's an animal autopsy.
Okay. Okay. I'll have to figure out the prefix of autopsy. I'm not smart enough to know. Will be done on Vladimir to determine the cause of death. The conservation groups are, of course, absolutely devastated. Nonprofit conservation groups said on Facebook that Vladimir bridged the gap between humans and wildlife in a way that few can. He was not just a beluga whale. He was a beacon of hope, a symbol of connection, and a reminder of the deep bond between humans and the natural world.
Wow. I'm emotionally moved by this.
Vladimir, dead. Not sure why.
Vladimir, dead, and we don't know how old either.
Seems like you'd be able
to
tell.
But he did have a GoPro strapped to his back.
Pretty quick. Did this whale die of natural causes or because it has a gunshot
wound? Was
he
shot?
Yeah. Would one gunshot wound kill a whale?
That's a great question.
Poll question?
I don't want to Google that.
I feel like I'd be put on a list.
Yeah, I don't want to Google that, but I am interested in the answer, certainly.
Definitely.
Thank you for the odd news, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
Why don't we just double up this segment?
Double up.
And let's do some NFL reaction, overreaction.
Okay.
Now, did you bring your signs with you?
I did not bring the signs.
Sad.
No,
We weren't 100% prepared today.
No.
So we're going to do NFL reaction, overreaction right now.
Right now.
We're going to have Josh's top 5 James Earl Jones parts.
Yes.
Coming up, the long awaited list. Jacob Bigelow will join us at 1 o'clock. He has told me that he has dedicated his radio appearance today to Mufasa.
Yes. Not James Earl Jones.
They got my man's.
Mufasa.
And they were dedicating this to Mufasa. So that's coming up at 1 o'clock. All right. NFL reaction, overreaction from week 1. There are many reactions to be had.
Yes.
Many reactions to be had. These are just the teams that I don't know I've decided to focus in on today.
And as we say every week 1, this is the most reaction, overreaction of the season because we don't know anything right now.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's very possible that all of these are either appropriate reactions or overreactions.
That's right. We welcome the riders. They're behind us. We got
big group of them today.
Yeah.
We gave them their daily outing. Yeah. We usually keep them in a cage.
You got to let them run around every once in a while. Take number 1. The heavy preseason favorite to win the NFC South, the Atlanta Falcons, will not win the garbage NFC South.
Reaction. This is an appropriate reaction.
Oh.
They stink.
Kirk Cousins is injured.
No good.
He feels the pressure of Michael Penix Jr. behind him and said, I will play on one leg. It's fine.
They probably have the best player in the division, I guess, and his name is Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, okay. I thought Kyle Pitts would be better than he is.
Yeah, he did okay on Sunday.
He did.
I'm trying to think. So New Orleans, probably not. Carolina, definitely not.
Yeah. Is Baker Mayfield back?
And the Tampa.
Yeah.
They're okay. Give me Tampa in that division. Give me Tampa.
It doesn't feel like Atlanta, right?
No.
Yeah.
New Orleans might be okay, but we have absolutely no idea on them because they beat a junior varsity team.
Yes.
On Sunday. So, I now, obviously, it's week 1, the most overreaction that we could possibly get, but I didn't see it. I didn't see anything to make me believe that team was going to be good this year. I know they played Pittsburgh. They have a good defense. They allowed Pittsburgh to only kick field goals, and they lost. So I don't know. I would look at that as more of a negative than it is a positive.
Panthers don't play a divisional game for 5 weeks, so the NFC South will be in flux for quite some time.
Yeah, remember, everybody plays those guys twice.
Yes.
You're gifted 2 free ones.
Take number 2. Here we go again. Should we be concerned about the Cincinnati Bengals?
This is not a overreaction question. Writers, figure it out. But my answer to this question is yes. We should be concerned about the Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay.
They have a twinge of bad vibes to them, Josh. I don't like whatever this Jamar Chase situation is. Is Joe Burrow okay?
Hold out or don't, Jamar.
Yeah. Is Joe Burrow okay?
Uh-huh.
They don't have Joe Mixon anymore. Chase Brown's doing all right. They need T. Higgins back.
Mm-hmm.
I did not like what I saw, and they were playing New England. It should be as easy of a tune-up game as you could possibly get.
That's a layup.
That team's bad,
Mm-hmm.
and Jacoby Brissett will probably not be their starting quarterback like in a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But they looked pretty competent against the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Bengals decided to not throw the ball more than 2 yards at a time, and they supposedly have this great quarterback, this generational quarterback. I don't see it.
I asked Allan Bell about the Bengals in particular and other teams who maybe don't start the season like other teams do, where they really dial it down in training camp and work in the preseason to get things better. The Bengals seem to just roll the ball out there and like, okay, well, week 1, now we can get started.
I know.
And they take like 3 or 4 weeks to really get going.
I don't like how they do that.
Also, the Bengals play the Chiefs this weekend.
Just because they went to the Super Bowl one time,
Yeah.
Now they're this established team. The take inside of this take is Joe Burrow, I'm watching you.
Ooh. I mean,
Joe Burrow, I'm going to watch really closely here.
I think more than any other team in the league, they play with their food, and it bites them in the butt quite a bit.
I don't like that. That's not flattering
Yeah,
to me.
don't do that in this league.
Cincinnati, I'm watching you. There is concern there.
Oh, an ABS challenge.
Oh, you want to see how it goes?
Yeah, kind of.
Have you ever seen this?
It's presented by T-Mobile.
Turns out it was a ball.
Ball. What was it called on the field?
I didn't hear it.
No. Oh, it even tells you by how much. Okay.
Yeah, there's
Cool.
a little. Some of it's right on the edge. It's right. It's
I
actually very cool.
approve of this system.
I told you. It's great. Next.
Take number 3. You want Anthony Richardson as the quarterback for your franchise.
Overreaction.
Yeah.
This guy sucks. Everybody thinks that oh my God, he's 6'5", and he threw that ball far that one time, and he runs really well. Fantasy people love him because he gets some fantasy points because he rushes for touchdowns. Do not let that fool you. This guy has never been good at quarterback, and now he's in the NFL, and people have tricked themselves into thinking that he is an NFL quarterback. You can't be a worse version of Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is so unique because of what he does in the run game and how the offense is built around him. Like, I get some of the Colts buzz. I do not buy this guy, and that is
a homer. Yeah, they didn't seem to chase that one very much.
Downtown.
The 2-run variety.
I am out on Anthony Richardson.
So I don't get to do this often, but let me tell everybody how this works. You saw an Anthony Richardson highlight on Twitter and said, that guy's great. I want him. I'm a fan of a team in the AFC South.
That's right.
I've watched Colts games.
Thank you, Josh.
You don't want that guy as your quarterback.
We've gotten too fantasy-ized in this sport now.
Yes.
100%. Does anybody care to know what his line was on Sunday afternoon?
I would love to know. I don't know.
Because you look at his fantasy score and you say, oh, my God, he ran for 56 yards and a touchdown, which is automatically, 11 points. And then he threw for another 212 and 2 touchdowns. Like he's a 25-point fantasy guy. Here's his line, Josh. 9 of 19.
That's not good.
Nope, it's not. 9 of 19, 212 yards and 2 touchdowns. He took 2 sacks.
212 yards on 9 completions.
Yeah, because he could throw the ball 800 yards. Like, it's not that hard.
After falling down.
No. Not in on this.
Not for me.
Not in on this.
No, thank you.
Next, writers.
Brian Daboll will be fired mid-season.
This is an appropriate reaction.
So
people still love Daboll.
They love him.
Yeah.
But someone has to be the scapegoat for this.
Someone has to die for this.
And it ain't going to be Dan Jones.
Apparently not. I don't know. You can't just bench him after what you did this offseason.
Didn't they just pay him?
Yeah.
No, that's the scapegoat. I'm sorry.
They had a mildly good, close margin season 2 years ago.
Uh-huh.
They were bad last year. They're going to be bad this year.
Bad.
That's not good. Like, people think so highly of this Daboll's guy, and all he does is coach bad teams.
Yeah,
as an NFL head coach.
Now the question is, after the season or mid-season? I think this is an appropriate reaction. I don't think the timing of it matters, even though it's directly in the question.
Quick tweet here in the middle of this from Adam Rittenberg.
Hi, Adam Rittenberg.
Colorado coach Deion Sanders confirmed safety Shiloh Sanders underwent arm surgery Sunday. Said he woke up from surgery and said he was ready to play this week. And then the follow-up is Shiloh Sanders is expected to miss 2 to 3 weeks per Deion Sanders, who notes his son is a very fast healer. Not at all a grifter.
Wow.
Not at all a grifter.
That was a hell of a tweet.
Yep. Thank you, Adam Rittenberg.
All right.
I'm out on Dayball's. I'm out on the Giants.
Yeah.
I kind of liked them last year, but I don't see them.
No, they don't have any pieces. Final take from the writers. The Bears are back.
Overreaction. Glide and easy overreaction.
Your offense is yet to score.
I do like that their defense is good. Like that's a sign of the Bears being back.
Yes. Odunze is hurt? Not hurt? What?
He's hurt. What? He's going to be out for a couple weeks. MCL.
Yeah, that's right.
They have a good wide receiver. I mean, they
have others.
They have Keenan Allen. They have DJ Moore. I mean, they have good wide receivers. I did not expect Caleb Williams to look as choppy as it was on Sunday. That was not good.
He played in the preseason and looked.
I liked what I saw in the
good.
preseason.
Yeah.
It looked really choppy.
Yeah.
There was a lot going on for him in front of his face, and they couldn't really protect him all that well. The Bears are not back.
Not yet.
They might not be bad, but they're not back. There's a difference.
I would also like to throw in just a little sprinkle of they looked like that against the Titans, who might have a good defense, I guess.
Well, yeah, it's a lot easier to win football games when Will Levis is just giving you the ball.
Here
you go. You could take it. Him and Jeff Sims handshake me.
Yes. I don't know Jeff Sims' thoughts on mayonnaise, but
we should call him up.
Dear Arizona State SID, weird question for you. Could we get Jeff Sims' take on mayonnaise?
Just
please and thank you.
Yeah, we don't even have to talk to him. Can you just ask him for us?
Ask him and email us back.
It's really easy.
Yeah.
All right. That's our NFL reaction, overreaction. Now, the Riders are not in midseason form.
No,
yet.
a little shaky.
They'll get there.
They will. Another challenge.
Okay, Josh. Now, what do you think is going to happen here? He was obviously called a ball because he's looking to go walk Austin Nola, and it was indeed a ball.
Yeah. Good call.
And the catcher's like, what do I got to do to get a call on this joint?
1.7 inches?
1.7 inches off the inside corner.
Wow. Seems far.
Isn't it great?
At the same, yeah.
It's kind of good, isn't it?
Quick.
I like how they just did ABS. Or they just did challenge, and they got rid of
It's tennis.
The robot. Yeah. It's kind of exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's NFL reaction, overreaction. Let's come back and get to Josh's top 5. Another Josh's top 5. This time a top 5, not a bottom 5.
Right.
James Earl Jones rolls. We will pay tribute to the king of Pride Rock before he was brutally murdered by his brother.
The king of that land in Coming to America.
Yeah. What was that? What was that country called?
I don't remember.
If you say it, it's going to bother me. Okay, now you have to look it up. Find it. Coming to America Kingdom.
Internet's
Come on, AI.
Zamunda.
Yeah. Thank you. I haven't seen it's about time for a rewatch, honestly.
It was very crucial that I not guess the name of that country.
It was indeed crucial.
Not gonna cancel me.
Good job by you, Josh. Karen writes in.
Hi, Karen.
What we really need is Will Levis's opinion on the Jeff Sims meal.
Oh, yes.
Flip it around.
Will Levis, what are your takes on crisp meat burritos? Also, tell Bill I said hello.
Adam Rittenberg has once again chimed in from the Coach Prime press conference.
Hi, Adam.
Deion Sanders called the report that told the band, that said the band is not allowed to play the CU fight song, quote, idiotic. Said media needs to be more responsible with reporting. Quote, I have a huge platform. I could get really personal if I wanted to, but I choose not to do that because it's not right. Deion Sanders, a person who takes the high road routinely.
All the time. That's what they say about him.
We'll take a break. Josh's top 5 is coming up. I will probably be here at the beginning, but then I'll have to head out at some point during.
You're going to miss the end?
You'll update me later.
I will.
And then Bigelow will join us at the top of the hour. More to come on the Connor Happer Show, live from Werner Park, coming up on 1620 The Zone.
with you here on 1620 The Zone. Connor Happer Show live from Werner Park. We're in the top of the fourth. 3-0 Mud Hens over the Storm Chasers. Connor went to go, I don't know what's next. The balloon pop. Speaking of pop, there's a pop-up. Foul ground. Not a problem. And there's 2 away. So top 5 James Earl Jones rolls. Obviously, we lost the acting titan at the age of 93 yesterday. I guess, Joey, we didn't prep you on this. We're going to do another top 5, but I'm sure you're ready. Because your nails, Joey, your nails.
I'm all ready.
That's right. Look, we're at a baseball stadium. Let's start with number 5.
God, come on. Take forever.
Number 5.
We just saw a bunt attempt. A professional ball player attempted to bunt the baseball. Now, it went foul, but that's interesting. We like bunting here on the Connor Happer Show. As a man has just walked by with 2 very large sandwiches. We also like sandwiches on the Connor Happer Show. Number 5, Terrence Mann, Field of Dreams from 1989. Connor and I both like to poke fun at the movie Field of Dreams because one of our hottest takes, it's not the best movie in the world, and as I'm at a baseball stadium, I feel like I need to whisper that or they'll drag me out of here. However, the baseball monologue delivered by James Earl Jones in Field of Dreams is one of the single greatest movie monologues in existence. It gives me the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson goosebumps if you're watching with us on ZoneTV.live, which many people are, by the way. Thank you. It gives me those goosebumps every time I hear it. And, I know most of the words. I'm not going to say I know all the words because then someone will go, well, do it right now. So I'm not going to do that. But as the Mud Hens get a base hit, it is one of the better monologues in movie history. And we have that because of James Earl Jones, and that will live forever. I mean, it's on, we talk to baseballism every year at the College World Series, and they have multiple shirts devoted to that monologue. So, I mean, that's not the bar of success or anything, but, the monologue. You're probably quoting it in your car or at your desk right now. So, one of the many, 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 many things that James Earl Jones birthed with his great talent. Top 5 James Earl Jones rolls. Number 4, Joey.
Number 4.
We go to the land of Zamunda, Coming to America, 1988. It is a small but mighty role. James Earl Jones played the king for... I don't even think that's the first time he played a king. I think he was in The King and I or some stage play where he's been a king before. But he played King Joffrey. He reprised the role, in the straight to Amazon Prime movie Coming to America in, 2021? That was his last feature film role. Because we have a stolen base. A bunt attempt, a stolen base. We have baseball going on right in front of my face, so I apologize if I'm a little distracted. Coming to America, great movie, comedy classic, and James Earl Jones, very small part in that, but I do see him in the get up with the lion sash around his body, and it makes me smile, and it just gives you the warm fuzzies, right? It is not a good argument to just say it's coming to America, but it's coming to America. It's just one of the best movies we have, and James Earl Jones was in it. I don't know why he signed up for it. I would love to have heard the pitch to James Earl Jones. I don't know if Eddie Murphy picked up the phone and said, "Yeah, I'll call James Earl Jones." That's my Eddie Murphy. It's not great. I'm not going to do it anymore. Joey, number 3, top 5 James Earl Jones rolls.
3. Combination of 3 and 5.
Number 3.
Meeting on the mound, umpire about to break it up. Top of the fourth here at Werner Park, as we have another baseball movie, The Sandlot, where James Earl Jones played Mr. Myrtle. I am 39 years old. The Sandlot would have come out when I was 8. I believe my math is correct on that. Don't double check it if I'm wrong, though. And I believe this is one of the first places I saw James Earl Jones. I don't know when the first time I saw Star Wars. It had to be about the same time. But this is one of those. Now, kids, back in the day, you didn't stream movies. You put in a big, bulky cassette tape, and you put it in your VCR, and you played it, and you had to rewind it and watch it again, and rewind it and watch it again. And if you did that enough times, you would do what is called wear the tape out. That is one of the we wore the tape out VHSs because we watched it so much. Mr. Myrtle was a towering figure in that movie. And, he played the blind neighbor. He owned the big vicious dog that all the kids were afraid of. He was a tall, bulky individual with the deep baritone voice, and he was a scary image. But, spoiler alert for The Sandlot, a movie that is 31 years old. Again, don't check my math on this. Just doing it on the back of the napkin here. But just towering figure in the movie. And then, not so bad, that guy, once you get to know him. And we're at a baseball stadium. We're, quote unquote, the baseball show. And, James Earl Jones is just synonymous with the sport, essentially. Like, what do we say on the show all the time? Baseball. Like, that's where that comes from, is the monologue from Field of Dreams. And he had this baseball movie in his resume as well. And so he's just I like that we're here today at Werner Park. I like that we're we're talking a lot of Husker football. We're doing a lot of NFL takes, but how can you not be romantic about the sport of baseball? And James Earl Jones is just a massive, massive part of the pop culture aspect of the sport. He, I assume, because of The Sandlot and Field of Dreams, in concert with each other. But in the summer of 1993, a couple months after The Sandlot came out, he performed the national anthem at the 1993 Major League Baseball All-Star Game. Didn't sing it. More of a spoken word, and there was a choir behind him, and the video was circulating around Twitter. I'd never seen it before, and I thought it was a really unique and pretty powerful performance of a song that you've heard a million times, and you just, okay, I know how this is going to sound, and this was just sort of a little different take on it. Joey, number 2, please.
Here comes 2. Number 2.
Joey Colbert on the 1s and 2s today. We appreciate that. Now, that's the Mr. Myrtle from The Sandlot, the best on-screen physical role of James Earl Jones's career. Didn't have that pegged when I started making this list. The other 2 are just voice roles, but which one will be in which spot? We're going to go with, look, this is going to chap a lot of people's hides. Number 2 is Darth Vader. Across 6 different Star Wars movies, James Earl Jones was initially offered $7,000 for a 2.5-hour recording session, and he didn't even want credit for it because, not to quote him directly, but I'm paraphrasing here, I was not the on-screen actor. The on-screen actor who did the work should be credited with the role, so he did not take credit initially. It wasn't until Return of the Jedi where James Earl Jones was kind of forced to take credit for it. They're like, yeah, that body is Darth Vader, but you're Darth Vader. Like, so interesting little push and pull there with the character. And in the last, I don't know, it feels like just yesterday, but I mean, it had to be in the last year, maybe 2 years tops. He agreed. He gave Disney permission. Yeah, AI the hell out of my voice. Make more Darth Vader forever and ever. I don't care. So Darth Vader will live on. The voice of James Earl Jones as Darth Vader has the potential to live on, I guess. But I mean, the movies are iconic enough. So, and I know a lot of you yelling at your radio, you're yelling at your computer right now. How could that dumb bleep put Darth Vader at number 2? Yes, it's one of the greatest movie villains of all time, perhaps the greatest movie villain of all time. It's probably, honestly, it's probably neck and neck with him and Hannibal Lecter, the late, great Hannibal Lecter, that's right, for movie villain of our time, right? Like, but it's number 2. It's number 2 for me. I'll tell you why. Joey, fire that music for number 1. I'm going to talk over it. Number 1 is Mufasa from The Lion King, 1994. I guess if you would like to include the 2019 version, you can. You don't have to.
Number 1.
Number 1.
Here is why Mufasa is the greatest James Earl Jones role, and I'm going to try and do this without crying. I'm a very sarcastic individual. I use humor to deflect from feeling real feelings, but I've shared parts of this story before. Growing up, I was around death a lot, I guess, for lack of a better word. It was, oh great, now Connor's coming, so I'm no longer telling this story to myself.
What?
Mufasa, the number 1 James Earl Jones role.
Oh, great call, Josh.
And it's a controversial take, and I'm sharing.
No, it's not.
I'm sharing why. My child growing up made me watch The Lion King incessantly, multiple times a day, and when you watch a movie that closely, that carefully, your takeaways from it tend to be beyond the surface. Like, you tend to go deeper into just the moving pictures in front of your face. Mufasa made me okay with the fact that I was going to die someday.
Wow. What a lesson.
As someone who was I was telling people I was around death a lot as a kid, and it terrified me as a teenager and a 20-something. But having a child and watching that movie, I have realized that my purpose in life is to not be so selfish as to worry about when I am going to die or not. It is to prepare my son for my death so that he has all the tools in his toolbox, because my brother could kill me at any moment.
That's right. Hopefully you are not brutally murdered by hyenas.
Yes.
That'd be good. Jimmy writes in.
Hi, Jimmy. Is it a Jimmy we know?
No. Has Connor seen Lion King? Connor has a controversial take about Lion King, potentially. It's one of the greatest movies of all time. I truly believe that. It's one of my favorites.
It is certainly top 3 animated movies of all time, which would put it certainly in the running.
I'd say the second to last time I watched this, I decided that I would, I was in college, or it was just after college, and I was hammered. And
great time to put on The Lion King.
I was like, I want to watch The Lion King. I just got like this wild hair and decided that I want to watch The Lion King. And so I did on my phone, and I cried and I cried and I cried. I mean,
you did.
What an incredible, incredible movie. Josh, great pick.
Great pick. Would you like to hear the rest of the list?
And great reasoning. Great story.
Yeah. Would you like me to run down the list?
I would. Please do.
Number 5, Terrence Mann, Field of Dreams. As Jacob Bigelow texted me, the monologue is literally in the Hall of Fame at Cooperstown.
Yeah, it's so good.
Number 4, King Joffrey from Coming to America.
Yep.
Number 3, Mr. Myrtle from The Sandlot.
Yep.
Number 2, Darth Vader, the only movie on this list you haven't seen.
Yeah, but I know about it.
Yeah.
I know what he did.
Yeah.
He said that he was Luke's father.
That's right. He did. He did.
I kind of get it.
You do.
Yeah. So, wow.
Number 1, Mufasa.
Is there anything that just missed? Did you come with an honorable mention?
Many people will come at me and saying, why isn't Admiral, what's his name, from 3 Jack Ryan movies, Hunt for Red October, Patriot Games, and I can't think of the third one, but those type of movies.
I think you got the basics.
Yeah.
When I think of James Earl Jones, those are the things that I think of.
One of the roles was going to get left off, and that was the one I was most comfortable taking the slings and arrows on.
Good job by you, Josh.
Thank you.
Way to understand your audience.
That's right.
That is Josh's top 5. We'll come back, and we have a special appearance by Jacob Bigelow coming up next. It will be dedicated to the fallen Mufasa. Not James Earl Jones, but Mufasa, who, once again, was brutally murdered by his brother and a pack of wild hyenas.
In a power struggle.
Yep. Back after this with Jacob, live from Werner Park on 1620 The Zone.
He's heating up. That's the country song, right? Remember when?
Thank you. Jacob Bigelow.
Yeah. Whenever my open is concocted, throw that in there.
He's on fire.
Jacob Bigelow, Huskers Illustrated, on the Connor Happer Show, on 1620, The Zone.
Boom shakalaka.
And we're now joined on the 42 Degrees Source Hotline by our good friend Jacob Bigelow of Huskers Illustrated. He of nice shirts or questionable shirts, whichever you'd like to refer to them as, joins us now on the show. Jacob, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm great. I will take that intro going forward. He of nice shirts. That can be my Game of Thrones title instead of first of his name. He of nice shirts. I'll take that label going forward. That's not too shabby. I'll take it.
I am to understand that you were more excited about your shirt selection for Colorado week than you were on UTEP week. Is this correct?
I was more excited. Yes, obviously, first season covering football. I am a chronic overthinker, so I will, overthink my shirt selections, and I was pleased with how week 2 went.
So we were told that you would like to dedicate this appearance to not the fallen James Earl Jones, but one of his characters, a cartoon lion. Mufasa. We're happy to do that, but you have to explain why.
I mean, it's dedicated to both Mufasa and James Earl Jones. You just got me thinking. Talking about how they got our guy, and I realized it's been 30 years since they took Mufasa away. And that's the trauma that has not subsided in those 30 years since. So you just got me thinking. You got my mind rolling this morning. So this one's for Mufasa and for James Earl Jones.
Yep, can't believe they got our guy.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll just I posted this on Twitter yesterday. This can be my James Earl Jones thought. Like there was honestly a time when I was younger that people always would ask the classic hypothetical of what would your superpower be, and I got so tired of people asking it that I would half jokingly, half seriously say, give me James Earl Jones's voice. I don't need to fly. I don't need X-ray vision. I just want to, have that voice. That would be an honest response that I would give. So, what a legend! What a career! So this is for him and for Mufasa.
It could definitely take you a lot of places. That might not be a horrible pick after all. All right, on to some thoughts here from football. So over the weekend, you got to experience it. It was quite the show in Lincoln, from before the game to during the game to after the game. Take us through your Saturday afternoon into the late night in Crime Town.
I mean, I got there entirely too damn early. I'll be the first person to admit it. I was boots on the ground in Lincoln shortly after 11:30, and I did not walk into my apartment until shortly after 1 a.m. And I couldn't get to sleep because I still felt absolutely wired from everything that was going on throughout the day. You could feel the storm coming from the minute I got down there, and it probably reached its crescendo on that Tommy Hill pick six. But everything throughout the day, produced quite a night to remember for Nebraska fans. I mean, and that is even with how the second half went. I mean, it was definitely a tale of two halves. But I think people when we look back on Nebraska, Colorado, September 2024, they'll just be thinking of the first half, and they won't want to talk about penalties and that sort of thing and how they came in.
I keep playing it back in my head though. If a couple of things go differently, Nebraska wins that game and they stomp them out. They stomp them out probably earlier than that, but more importantly, they actually do stomp them out. Like, have you replayed it in your head what that town looks like if Nebraska wins it? 45-7 or 56-0 or whatever you might have imagined in your brain.
Oh, I mean, if it went like that, I might have had to do like the Peter King, like Man on the Street write up, like of the scenes from O Street. Like if they wound up winning that game, 56-7, would have maybe had to do that if it had gone that way. But I mean, and that's clearly something that I've thought about it. Clearly, Matt Rule thought about it. From what he said yesterday. I saw, Jalen Lloyd today said that, they could have easily scored 50 if they'd cleaned stuff up. So it's not lost on me, and it's clearly not lost on people within the program. But they're clearly on to Northern Iowa as well.
How good do you think Nebraska's offense can be? Like, have we been able to pinpoint a ceiling? I mean, obviously we haven't seen it get to its ceiling in its first two games, but have you thought about what that could look like after a few more games of sort of that picture coming together?
No, I haven't been able to pinpoint it yet, and that's no fault of the offense. But I mean, on Saturday night, I mean, one of the narratives coming in, from the Colorado side was we need to confuse Dylan Raiola. We were hoping he makes a freshman mistake. Is the moment too big for him? And he was efficient and he did his job. But if you're listing off like reasons why Nebraska won that game, I don't think Dylan Raiola is in the top 3. The offense, it's on its own, just did its job, sent the message it wanted to send with the run game and power football. But I think that it's tough to pinpoint that right now, and that's no fault of them. But I mean, we saw what an air attack could look like at its best with the place Naor and Banks in the opener. But aside from Raiola's best Tyreek down there somewhere play impression on the Roman or moving to his right and Lloyd tracking the ball down deep, there wasn't that many highlight plays. So we've seen some potential, but I haven't been able to pinpoint it yet.
And what do you, Connor went to go do baseball things, Jacob. I apologize. Jacob Bigelow
okay.
with us here. What do you make of Matt Rule in his presser yesterday? Today's Tuesday, right? Yeah. Yesterday, saying that using the media to tell the offense, hey, you need to get it together because this freshman quarterback is way more advanced than you guys.
Yeah, I mean that definitely stuck out yesterday. I mean, and then Dylan, I forget what his exact words were, but today he responded to that and said, the standard should be acknowledged, every day, and that should be, everybody should be held to it. So, I mean, clearly he's leading the way, and clearly, your quarterback is expected to be the leader of your offense. But it was, quite eye-opening to hear that the 19-year-old freshman knows all the 200 plays in the playbook, and there are some guys who are older and lagging behind. But it's pretty eye-opening. But I also know that Rule's a big tough love guy. So he's seen how they've looked these first 2 weeks. But I mean, he's not just throwing that out there for no reason.
Absolutely. Good. Is it a good thing or a bad thing that he's that he's the most advanced? I mean, don't you want your quarterback to be the most advanced, but also he's just a freshman?
I think it's a good thing. I mean, I'm not going to hold it against the rest of the guys on that offense. With the focal point of your offense. I mean, it starts with the quarterback. Who's the guy who has the most opportunity to get creative? It's the quarterback. I mean, we saw him triple check a play into a run week 1 against UTEP. Clearly, the kid is well beyond his years, and he's got good football acumen, football IQ, all the coach cliches that you could label. So I think it's a good thing.
You have bragged that you heard and saw people talk today. Your big media elite rubbing it in my face. I basically, Jacob, I just hate that I'm here and I don't know what's going on in the rest of the world. I could look, but I'm too scared. What were your takeaways from the pressers today?
I listened in and out, but I mean, it's clear that they have turned the page. We've heard Rule and players and everyone emphasize the 1-0 mentality, win the week, win the game at hand. And Northern Iowa, it's an FCS opponent, and I know people can think what they want to think about Big Ten teams playing FCS teams, but and Tony White said as much today that this is a good primer for Big Ten play. Northern Iowa's a power football team. They have a big running back, who's going to get plenty of touches. They have 2 running backs actually, but they have one guy who's a bigger dude. So they're gonna they're going to pound the football. They'll try to play action. Yeah, a lot of 12 personnel from Northern Iowa. So similar to what the stereotypical Big Ten look is. But it's clear that Saturday night was a big moment for the program, for the players, for the fan base. But Nebraska's not going to dwell on it. The head coach certainly isn't going to dwell on it. They've all alluded to the fact that they've got much bigger goals for their season in total than beating Colorado.
Has anything changed in the first 2 games against what you thought in the preseason of this team, like what it can do?
Not particularly. I mean, I think the first 2 games have looked aesthetically almost exactly what I thought they would look like, what I wanted them to look like. And, I don't want to, sound like Debbie Downer or rain on the parade talking about, quality of opponent, but First game, you're playing a team in game one and year one of a new coach with a bunch of guys who are playing at Austin Peay. You should be able to impose your will and carve up a defense. Second game, your clearest advantage is on both lines of scrimmage. You should be able to run the ball, pound the rock, and get pressure on the quarterback. When you've got two Sunday guys on your defensive line, and that's what they did in both games. So I haven't gone full do we need to reevaluate the ceiling? Do we need to reevaluate everything? But, the first 2 weeks have gone in aesthetically. I emphasize aesthetically, like the way that it should have looked. That's the way it's looked for the most part.
What do you want to see Saturday? What are you looking for? Because obviously we assume the outcome of the game is not in hand. What are you looking at specifically as a sign that maybe some of these not problems, but the things they want to work on that they're improving upon?
I'm going to be keeping an eye on the running back room, and I know that we kind of saw, well, not kind of, we literally saw Rahmir Johnson and Dante Dowdell assert themselves to co-number ones on this week's depth chart. But Rule basically said going into last week that when Rahmir was in the game, they're going to pass, and when Dowdell was on the field, they were going to run, and he did just that. I think Dante Dowdell is clearly, the new leader in the clubhouse when it comes to who the RB1 is and who should be getting the most totes, in Big Ten play. But against an FCS opponent, and Rule has, emphasized that all four guys are still going to have a role and still be able to play football. Do we see a moment or a flash from Emmett Johnson or Gabe Urban at some point that I don't know? I don't think it's going to make the coaches reevaluate that room. But that's the position group offensively that I'll be keeping an eye on. Is that does Emmett Johnson or Gabe Irvin get a moment to say, hey, I'm still here. Hey, I still need to be in the discussion for this position going forward.
Jacob Bigelow with us. Connor Happer has returned from Hurl the Pearl.
Yeah.
Would you like to ask the last question?
I don't know what. No, I wouldn't. No.
Okay.
What else would I ask?
I don't know.
No. Anything else you want to talk about, Jacob?
Jacob, have we covered everything?
I know you got takes.
Basketball?
Yeah, we definitely talked a lot of football. We just got done talking about running backs and press conference stuff. We covered plenty of the bases with football. I guess I can just give I can give a shameless plug for my stuff, I guess.
Yes. Do that.
Yeah. If you subscribe to Huskers Illustrated magazine, I just finished up my projected starting five for Nebraska basketball. What I think that could look like for Fred Hoiberg to start in November. I also, as I am now known football man,
right.
had some stuff on the website over the weekend. My takeaways from the game on Saturday night. Had a pregame, column comparing, the game to a big-time prize fight, and then, Bud Crawford led the team out onto the field. So that aged decently well. So you can check that out at HuskersIllustrated.com. Subscribe to the magazine for basketball takes and what have you. So that's where you can find my stuff.
That is Jacob Bigelow, who is of football, at least at this very moment. Jacob, appreciate it. Talk to you later.
Thanks, Hap. Have a good week, fellas.
That is Jacob Bigelow, Huskers Illustrated. You can catch his stuff there and the pod as well. Okay, let's take a quick time out here. We have a couple more things that we can get to here on today's show. How about our Big Ten report card?
Yes.
Step into the classroom, why don't you? I have grades to hand out. Some good, some very, very bad. Back after this, live from Werner Park on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. Connor Happer, Josh Hudson, live with you from Werner Park. We're through 5, so I do not like our chances to be done with this show by 2 today.
Seems unlikely.
No, not going to happen. The Storm Chasers trail the Toledo Mud Hens, the AAA's Detroit Tigers, 3-0. Our Big Ten report card. Last week I gave out A's, B's, C's, and D's. No, A's, B's, C's, and F's.
That's right.
I gave out no D's. This week, I'm proud to report that everybody is in A, B, C, D, or F. So we have all real grades for everybody.
That's good.
And I've included, some descriptors, right? So let's go with the A's group. These are our overachievers, our brown nosers. 3 outs. Overachievers and brown nosers.
Okay.
All right? It's like, man, what are you guys doing? You guys are overachieving.
Throwing off the curve.
Yeah, we get it. You're smart. You don't have to get an A on everything. You don't have to answer every question. You don't have to be the person who raises your hand in class every time. Ohio State, USC, Indiana, Illinois, who beats a ranked team. And I'm going to give Nebraska an A for this past week.
Hello.
Ohio State has played subpar competition. USC followed up their win against LSU with a comfortable win against subpar competition. Indiana does nothing but crush really, really bad teams.
Are we grading?
We're grading the week.
Just this week?
We're grading the week.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
We are grading just the week.
Okay.
Ohio State, USC, Indiana, Illinois, and Nebraska. Those are our brown nosers, our overachievers. You didn't have to do what you did.
Quite a few brown nosers.
You took care of business.
Nerds.
The B's. You did great. You did fine, and you're a good kid, and everybody likes you.
Okay.
You got a B. Rutgers, who beat another bad team.
Watch out for Rutgers.
Washington, who looked, I debated giving them a C. They beat Eastern Michigan by 21. It's fine. Michigan State, Maryland didn't know what to do with that. They both played well. Michigan State won. And
top of the conference is Sparty.
This is the first conference game of the year. And then the Minnesota Golden Gophers, who bounced back from their F a week ago to get a B this week with their win against Rhode Island.
A shutout. That Josh Peterson saw every single play of in person.
These following grades got a C. These are the kids in class who they're good kids, but they're just not trying very hard.
You don't apply yourself.
Yes, you got to pick it up. You better pick it up a little bit.
God, I heard that so much in school.
Penn State with their touchdown win over Bowling Green.
What's going on there?
Iowa with their loss to Iowa State. And Oregon with their hard-fought win against Group of 5 Boise State.
God, I would love somebody who knows football more than me to tell me what's going on there.
Offensive line. There's your hint.
Oh, okay.
Offensive line. Not as good as we thought it was going to be. Our D's. These kids are headed down a bad path.
Oh, no.
They're hanging out with the wrong kids. And they are not, they're just, we don't like where they're headed right now. We don't like their result from week 2. Michigan. Hanging out with the wrong kids.
Yeah.
They're getting involved in some questionable stuff in the playground.
Some people said some things in the offseason about them that people took offense to.
Wisconsin could have got a C. They could have been with the other group there, but it's really compounded over 2 weeks now. They haven't looked good at all.
No.
And they beat South Dakota by 2 touchdowns. Not good enough for me.
Big Badger overreaction has to be a mess.
And then Northwestern, who lost in overtime to Duke on their lacrosse field.
That had a rabbit running around on
it.
The mascot had to go take care of.
You guys are headed down a bad path. You're hanging out with the wrong kids. And frankly, I don't want my kid hanging out with you.
That's part of it.
You can't go over to that kid's house.
No.
I don't like the direction they're headed.
Northwestern, there's no parents over there. They're home by themselves.
You'd call them a bad influence.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say a bad influence. Those are our D's for the week. And you know what? I said everybody got a grade this week. But as you may have noticed, that's everybody. A good teacher doesn't fail kids. He rehabilitates them. No F's.
Are you okay with that?
No, I'm counting all the teams.
That's it.
There's a lot of teams.
There's some teams that got buys.
Oh,
That was
okay.
everybody who played.
Okay. That's why I don't
1,
have
2,
it.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So 16 played. Two teams got the week off.
If you made me tell you which 2 teams were not on this list, I'm not sure I'd be able to do it. Purdue.
Yep. Big Ten West. I always start with the Big Ten West and then just move out. Indiana played.
I shouldn't have
Maryland
said it.
played.
Somebody's yelling at their radio right now. You
Rutgers.
guys are stupid.
Rutgers played. How about UCLA? Nailed it.
We got there.
Yep, nailed it. There's our Big Ten report card. Congratulations to Nebraska. A B and an A. 2 weeks in a row.
Those are good grades.
Really great start to the semester.
Honor roll?
You're trending that way.
Yeah.
You're trending toward like a 3.0.
That's good.
All right. I got to go.
Okay.
We got to do our next thing here. But
You go.
finish. You could talk a little Creighton, Nebraska volleyball.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do that.
Whatever you want to do.
We'll do that.
It's your show now.
Okay, it's my show now.
Bye. BRB. I'm going to go pie somebody in the face.
Oh, Connor's going to go pie somebody in the face here at Werner Park, where it is the top of the 6th, 3-0, Mud Hens. We got a big one tonight in college volleyball. This has been circled by the team in blue, the Creighton Blue Jays, that is, for quite some time. They have been targeting this as their best chance at beating Nebraska, something they've never done in program history. Creighton, the 9th ranked team in the country. They are going to Lincoln to face the 5th ranked Huskers tonight. Like I said, Creighton never beaten Nebraska before in volleyball. They've come close. They feel they have the older team. They feel they have quite possibly the best team they've ever had, do the Blue Jays. And they're going into the Lions' Den tonight. They're taking on a Nebraska team who, sure, they've lost a match already, but Nebraska feels like this is an unfinished business season, and they can rattle off win after win en route to another Final Four appearance. You know, this is just what the John Cook teams do there in Lincoln. I will say I don't like Creighton walking into Lincoln looking for a win. If this one was in Omaha, I would say it is very possible because Creighton is very, very good. But regardless of who I think is going to win or lose, I mean, I'm not some big volleyball expert. I watch the sport. It fascinates me. It's a great television product, and that's where my focus is. Give me a good match tonight. What happens? Somebody hit a homer? I see people trotting around the bases. I see sad Storm Chasers. But nationally televised game tonight. It is volleyball day in Nebraska, and this is hopefully the showcase we all think it's going to be. This is, the volleyball state. We jokingly say it to each other in passing, like, hey, volleyball state, volleyball state, volleyball state, which at the end of the football season might not be true, depending on a couple things. But you got the Big Ten Network tonight. You got it all to yourself. 7 o'clock start for Creighton and Nebraska. Should be. Sorry, Joey. I've been eating popcorn, Joey, so my throat's going to get worse before it gets better. But should be a great television product tonight, and I hope a lot of people watch it. Speaking of things you can watch on your television, we're going to step aside. We'll come back. We'll do. We'll update you on the poll questions. Had a couple of humdingers in there. We'll tell you what to watch tonight. Things, including the volleyball, things that aren't the volleyball. We'll tell you that there's quite a few things. One thing is on quite a few channels tonight. I will not be recommending that to you all this evening. I will be recommending things that will not make your blood boil. Next on the Connor Happer Show. We're live at Werner Park today here on, again, the Connor Happer Show. It's 1620 The Zone. Back with you here, final segment from Werner Park today. Connor Happer just got done with the CHI Health Trivia. We had a winner today. Congratulations to them. The Storm Chasers are not winning here in the 6th inning. 5-0 they trail. Just a couple of hits on the board for the good guys right now. But final segment, so we update the poll questions at Happer's Show on Twitter as we wait for the internet to load. It's good Wi-Fi here, but a little struggling right there. First one out of the gate. Most voted on poll question of the day. Is Mufasa your guy? Felt pretty confident this was coming back, yes. 73% of the audience agreed, yes, Mufasa, that's my guy. As Connor and Jacob and myself have attested to as we mourn the loss of James Earl Jones today. A maybe less serious poll question. Was he a fatty? We were just vague context. We were discussing Gaglione, the former fatty fat kicker from Wisconsin, and 77.5% of the audience said yes, he was a fatty. So,
what's going on with the polls?
Mufasa is our guy.
He is,
and he was a fatty.
Yep.
As Connor Happer returns, those are the poll questions.
Josh, what are we watching tonight?
We are watching this is a big one. We got a huge one. Many people are watching it. It's going to divide households. It is red versus blue. People are going to be dialed into this. They're going to be talking about it for ages. It is Nebraska versus Creighton volleyball.
It is. Gosh, did you have a preview?
I did have a preview. Very detailed, many notes.
I was actually in a good position to talk about it because I've seen both teams play
in person.
Well, I haven't seen Nebraska play in person
okay.
yet, but I've seen Creighton play in person.
They're
multiple times. They are good. It might be the night.
Ooh.
It might be the night.
I said I don't like their chances to walk into that Lions den and pull it out, but it is the best team they've had.
I agree. I agree with that part.
Tall task, 7 o'clock on BTN tonight. Let's stick with the ladies here. WNBA, Minnesota at Atlanta, 6:30 NBA TV. New York Liberty are deep in the heart of Texas tonight to take on the Dallas Wings, 7 o'clock on CBS Sports Network. Baseball on your TV today. A TBS doubleheader, which we don't often get. Orioles, Red Sox at 6 o'clock, followed by Cubs, Dodgers.
I wish both of those teams
could
lose, the Orioles and the Red Sox.
Big meteor.
I guess I'm probably, at this point, Boston's so far gone that I'm probably just rooting for Boston at this point.
I would think so.
Because the Royals are more interested in catching the Orioles than they are having the Red Sox catch them.
That's right. MLB TV free game of the day, Padres at the Mariners, 8:40 start there. MLB Network, Rangers and America's team, the Arizona Diamondbacks, also at 8:40. Brewers, Giants, 8:45 on ESPN Plus, and of course, Cubs, Dodgers, like I said. And other things are taking up your television tonight. I will tell you that something called Hallmark Plus debuts today.
No, thank you.
Yeah, no, it's not for us, Connor. And on Prime Video, the six-part docuseries, The Money Game, premieres tonight. It profiles only LSU athletes, Olivia Dunn, Jaden Daniels, Angel Reese, and a couple of others, as they discuss and document their NIL journey. 6 parts. That's on Amazon Prime.
LSU's kind of been known as they've been the NIL place with Olivia Dunn.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not all the money is coming from like regular LSU donors. She's getting more money from other places, things of that nature.
That guy who owns Raisin Cane's.
Yeah. Yeah. He brought a lot of jello shots at the College World Series.
Sure did, and we thank him. It helps many food charities.
Helps the economy. Hurts nobody.
That's right.
All right. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
That's what we're watching tonight. That's the show. If you missed anything, you can find it at 1620thezone.com. I got something for you, Josh.
Oh.
So the crossover is coming up next.
It is.
Also coming up very soon here at Werner Park is the 7th inning stretch.
Okay.
Would you like to sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game?
Yeah, I think I would.
Yeah, because you had to say yes to that, by the way.
Yeah.
I get to choose who gets to sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game. And so Josh will get to sing today.
Wow.
Live on the air on 1620 The Zone and in front of all these lovely people at Werner Park. How's that sound?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go.
Perfect.
I'm going to look up the lyrics.
Can't wait. Can't wait. That's coming up during the crossover. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone.